The training grounds are still, so still it feels like the world itself is holding its breath. Syria's gaze lingers on the spot where Ian should be. Empty. Silent. A cold dread coils in her chest. Did something happen to him? Did he really risk everything, for me? The thought stings more than she expects. Guilt, fear, and something unspoken twist together until her mind drifts back, far back, to a memory she's tried to bury. A small girl. Fragile. Her bright blue eyes wide with confusion as cruel laughter echoes through the courtyard. Look! It's the orphan. Two older girls sneer down at her, voices dripping with mockery. No mother to cry to. No one to protect her. Her little hands clench, trembling, not with fear, but with a fury that burns too hot for her small frame to hold. These bastards. The scene fades. She's no longer that child, but the rage still hums beneath her skin. Her grip tightens on her sword until her knuckles turn white. She forces herself to breathe, to stay calm, but their words keep needling her. They're really pissing me off, she mutters under her breath, jaw tight. But she knows there's nothing she can do. Not yet. Across the grounds, two girls from Lupin's crew watch her like vultures. One snickers, asking if Syria's angry. The other points out the look in her eyes, sharp, defiant, like it's all some cheap form of entertainment. The taunts don't stop. Every word cuts deeper, twisting into the one wound that's never healed, her mother, her past. Syria stands still, enduring every insult with that same quiet, unshakable sadness. And then, a voice breaks through. Enough! The word slices through the air like a blade. Ian steps forward, a faint golden light wrapping around him. His face is calm, but his eyes, those eyes burn. He grabs one of the girls by the shoulder, his grip unyielding, his voice low and dangerous. Leave her alone. Or you'll end up just like your friends, broken. The confidence drains from their faces instantly. The mockery, the arrogance, gone. They stammer excuses, claiming it's all a misunderstanding. Ian doesn't flinch. He looks at them with that same cold, purple glow in his eyes, a silent reminder of what happened last time. Ian Perkis. The name alone makes them pale. Images flash in their minds, Lupin and his team, beaten and bandaged, eyes glazed with that same haunting light. The memory alone is enough to make their legs shake. Syria watches quietly as a small crowd gathers around. Ian's gaze flicks toward them, sharp as a blade. This isn't a show, he snaps. The crowd scatters instantly. Then he turns back to her. Even with the bandages across his face, his expression is steady, sincere. Syria Yadina, he says simply. The two trembling girls bow low, their voices shaking as they choke out their apology. They promise they'll never lay a hand, or a word, on her again. Lupin and his crew stand stiffly, the bruises from their last clash with Ian still fresh. One by one, they bow their heads, their movements mechanical, forced. It's a show of submission, not respect. Syria watches in silence. Her expression gives nothing away. Her sharp blue eyes settle on Lupin. Calmly, she tells him, "You could have apologized another time. There was no need to make this a spectacle." Lupin just smirks. That dangerous glint flickers in his red eyes again. "There's a reason for all this drama," he murmurs, leaning closer so only she can hear. His tone is cool, almost amused. "If we apologized quietly," he explains, "people would think we're weak. But this way..." He gestures around them, the onlookers still whispering. "Everyone sees that lunatic, Ian, as the one who pushed us down. It looks like we were forced into it. It's a clean defeat. No shame attached." He straightens, arrogance returning with a lazy grin. "Don't get me wrong," he says. "I still don't like you. You're rude." Then his voice drops again, sharper this time. "But what really gets under my skin is that you're stronger than me. And you've got people backing you." The resentment in his words is thick, but behind it, there's calculation. He gives her a knowing look. Power's important, sure. But finding the right allies? That's what really keeps you alive. It's less advice, more a warning. Then he turns, resting a hand on Ian's shoulder just as he passes out of view. "Oh, and Syria," he says with that smirk still in place. "Make sure you tell Ian about all this, won't you?" It's subtle, but the message is clear, a reminder to keep that unpredictable monster close. Syria watches him walk away, thoughtful. For the first time, she admits to herself, Lupin is smarter than she gave him credit for. Her blue eyes widen slightly as the realization sinks in. A quiet breath escapes her lips, half in surprise, half in reluctant acknowledgement. Behind her, the two girls are still bowing low, their voices trembling as they repeat their apology. Each word drips with fear. They swear, again and again, they'll never touch her or speak of her family again. Syria exhales softly. There's a trace of satisfaction in her eyes, but it's weighed down by exhaustion. If it were just me, she thinks, I probably would have just taken it. Her hand tightens on her sword. Her eyes harden. But I can't keep relying on him. Standing tall, she makes a quiet vow to herself. Next time, she thinks, I'll handle it on my own. The scene shifts. Inside the temple, the door to Ian's room bursts open. The saintess strides in, a bright smile on her face. Mr. Time, Ian, she calls, stepping forward with a mix of warmth and irritation. Do you enjoy getting hurt, or what? Ian blinks, caught off guard. He starts to deflect, but she cuts him off before he can speak. Her tone turns firm. More importantly, she says, I heard you beat up 8 people yesterday. Ian hesitates, trying to explain, but his voice falters. The saintess sighs, pinching the bridge of her nose. I helped smooth things over, she says. But if I hadn't stepped in, the Rinella family would have made a huge mess out of it. The saintess's smile fades as her words grow heavy. If I hadn't stepped in, she says, the Rinella family would have made quite the scene. You really shouldn't make enemies like that, Ian. Her warning lands hard. Ian blinks, his expression tightening. The Rinellas, he repeats, disbelief written across his face. She nods, eyes serious. Count Rinella wasn't pleased. At all. Ian sits back on the edge of the bed, a fresh bandage running across his nose. Of course, it had to be them. Lupin may have bowed today, but Ian knows him too well. That man doesn't forget humiliation. He'll smile in public, and strike in private. A cold realization hits. What if they go after my family? Panic claws at the edges of his mind as he runs a hand through his hair. He tries to calm himself, whispering that he already explained everything to the saintess, that she'll handle it. But the worry refuses to fade. The saintess softens, a gentle smile tugging at her lips. Relax, she says quietly. Didn't I tell you? I'm on your side. Always. Before he can thank her, she adds almost playfully. Oh, and you still owe me for that favor last time. Ian frowns. Favor? What favor? Her eyes glint with mystery. You wouldn't remember. Then, almost teasingly, she says, it's nothing major, don't worry about it, Emmanuel. The name hits him like a slap. Emmanuel, he echoes, confused. He sits up straighter. Who's that supposed to be? But she only smiles and turns away, leaving the question hanging in the air. Ian sinks back into the bed, muttering, damned evil spirit. His missing memories, his blank week, continue to haunt him. What exactly did that thing do in his body? And why does the saintess treat him like an old acquaintance? An uneasy silence fills the room. He pictures her again, not as she is now, but as a being of radiant light, powerful beyond comprehension. Someone like that wouldn't help just anyone. So what kind of favor could he possibly have done for her? His thoughts are cut short when the door bursts open with a bang. Ian. Celine rushes in, eyes wide, worry written all over her face. She doesn't hesitate, just throws her arms around him. I heard what happened. Did you really beat up Teen and his gang? Ian stiffens, caught completely off guard. Celine, hey, why do you always jump on me like this? She pulls back, pouting in frustration. Because I'm worried, you idiot, she huffs. You're always getting hurt. And it's always for her. Her voice trembles slightly. Why do you care about Syria so much? The question hangs between them, heavy, raw. Ian looks at her, a small, tired smile softening his face. It's not like that, he says quietly. I'd have done the same for you. I promised, remember? I'll protect you, too. The anger fades from her eyes, replaced by something gentler, hope, maybe. So, you remember, she whispers. His smile brightens. Of course I do. How could I ever forget? He doesn't notice the way her heart catches at his words. To him, it's simple, a promise between friends. But to her, it means everything. The scene fades into memory. Years ago, a small, dimly lit room. A frail man lies in bed, breathing shallowly. Celine's uncle. And standing beside him, 2 children, hand in hand. Ian's voice echoes softly in the background. Long ago, corruption ran deep among the nobles. They schemed in the shadows, seizing land that wasn't theirs, and when Celine's family stood in their way, her uncle paid the price. The memory burns like an old scar. A young Celine sits alone in a quiet garden, knees pulled to her chest, her small shoulders trembling as she cries. The flowers around her sway in the wind, silent witnesses to her grief. And standing a few steps away, a young Ian. His eyes are soft, but his voice is steady. That day, seeing his best friend broken and alone, he made a promise. He swore he'd protect her, no matter what it cost. Celine. Her small voice cracks as she looks up at him, eyes red from tears. He simply smiles. A quiet, determined smile. The memory fades. Back in the present, Ian rests a gentle hand on her head. Don't worry, he says softly. I'll always protect you. But then, without thinking, he adds. You're like a little sister to me. The air freezes. Celine's smile vanishes instantly. Her brows knit together, eyes flashing with disbelief. Little sister, she repeats, her voice trembling, not with sadness, but fury. Before he can react. Wham! Her heel slams down on his foot. Ian yelps in pain, stumbling back. Why did you have to ruin the moment? She shouts, face flushed with anger. Do you enjoy saying things like that? Ian blinks, clutching his foot, completely lost. What did I even do? Forget it, she snaps, crossing her arms. There's no point explaining anything to an idiot like you. She turns away with a huff, trying to hide the heat in her cheeks. Then, after a deep breath, her expression hardens. They still have bigger problems to deal with, serious problems. If they can solve that, she thinks, maybe then Ian will stop worrying about another girl. Later, the two sit together, discussing the growing tension. Celine's voice is steady but serious. People have always talked behind Syria's back, she says. But now they are doing it to her face. It's different this time. She pauses. And it's not just petty students anymore. High-ranking nobles are getting involved. Ones with real influence. Ian nods slowly. Leto said something similar, he recalls. But this doesn't feel random. Someone's pushing it from behind the scenes. He leans forward, thinking aloud. It's not just personal grudges. There's coordination here. A plan. His eyes sharpen, that faint glow flickering within them as the puzzle takes shape. Teen's crew was being manipulated. That much is obvious, he mutters. So who benefits from all this? He rules out the fourth years immediately. They've got no reason to target the Yordina family. Then, something clicks. A face flashes in his mind. Green hair. A sly smile. That strange, glowing aura. He looks up just as Leto appears in the hallway. Leto, he calls, I need you to look into something. You've got the connections. Leto nods without hesitation. Leave it to me. As his friend walks off, Ian's thoughts race. A high-ranking noble, pulling strings from behind the curtain. It all fits. The flashbacks come in fragments, Teen's confession, the terrified look in that student's eyes, the smirk of the green-haired girl. It has to be her. A calm, cold certainty settles over him. Now all that's left is to find the mastermind. The scene shifts. The grand hall of the temple stands silent. Sunlight filters through tall windows, scattering golden light across the marble floor. Ian steps out of the infirmary, the familiar weight of his uniform pressing against his shoulders. But this time, something feels different. The stillness carries a quiet loneliness. No chatter. No footsteps. Just the echo of his own. As he walks, he glances toward the light streaming through the windows. Has it always felt this empty? He wonders. Or did everything that's happened change the way he sees the world? His golden eyes drift upward, reflecting the light, tired yet resolute. Ian's golden eyes suddenly widen. A familiar figure stands in the distance, fiery red hair catching the light like a flame. A soft breath escapes his lips. Emma's father. The man approaches slowly, stopping a few steps away before bowing deeply. Ian immediately waves his hands, flustered. There's no need for that, he says quickly. For a moment, neither speaks. Only a quiet, heavy understanding passes between them. Then Ian's expression softens. How is she doing? He asks carefully. The older man's face darkens, his eyes filled with grief. The temple can keep her alive, he says quietly, voice trembling. But that's all they can do. His hands curl into fists, knuckles white as he struggles to hold back tears. I can't do anything. I'm her father, and I can't do anything. Ian steps forward, his tone firm and unwavering. Please don't talk like that, he says. A miracle will happen. I know it will. The man takes a deep breath, trying to steady himself. Then, forcing a faint smile, he changes the subject. I heard you were the one who dealt with the beast that attacked Emma, he says, his voice thick with emotion. I don't know how I could ever repay you. Ian shakes his head immediately. It's not like that, he replies. The beast attacked first. I only fought back. That's all. The man looks at him in surprise. Then, realizing his mistake, he bows his head again. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have spoken without thinking. Ian gives him a gentle smile. It's fine. Really, he says. Don't worry about it. But the older man insists, his voice breaking slightly. No, I mean it. You have my gratitude. He exhales deeply, exhaustion settling into his features. I should go, he murmurs, turning to leave. Ian watches him go, the weight of their conversation lingering in the still air. Then his expression hardens. His fist clenches at his side. No matter what it takes, he vows silently, I'll save Emma. The scene shifts. The campus clock tower rises against a soft twilight sky. White petals drift through the air, glowing faintly in the evening light. It's peaceful, almost too peaceful. Ian walks alone through the quiet grounds, his mind already elsewhere. Leto should have something by now, he thinks. A flash of his friend's grinning face appears in his mind, Leto teasing him for a proper reward. Ian can't help but smirk. He knows that if anyone can dig up the truth behind the rumors, it's Leto. As he rounds the corner toward the training grounds, a faint hum of energy reaches him. His eyes lift, and there she is. Syria. Her silver hair rippling with every movement, bright blue energy spiraling around her. The glow of her magic flares and folds in perfect rhythm, sharp and controlled. He slows, watching in quiet awe. Her aura, it's more stable than before. His eyes narrow slightly, studying her every motion. Each strike, each stance, it's precise, refined, confident. A soft gasp escapes him. Wait, he mutters under his breath. How did I ever manage to beat her before? As if sensing his gaze, Syria turns. Her blue eyes meet his, bright and alive. Hey, she calls, smiling. How have you been? Ian straightens, suddenly awkward. I've been good, he stammers. What about you? Her smile widens, a faint pink coloring her cheeks. Honestly, she says softly. I haven't felt this good in a long time. Syria smiles softly, brushing a strand of silver hair behind her ear. I haven't been doing well at all without you around, she admits, almost in a whisper. The camera lingers on her face, her cheeks tinged pink, her wide blue eyes shimmering with something she can't quite name. A small flutter escapes her chest before she quickly places a hand over her heart, as if trying to calm its rhythm. She tilts her head, smiling playfully. What about you? She asks, her voice light but warm. The moment hangs between them, quiet, close, and unexpectedly intimate. Ian grins. Same as always, he says casually. But his eyes drift to the glowing sword in her hand. That technique you were using just now, he says, it was incredible. What was that? Syria glances down at the blade, the faint golden glow reflecting in her eyes. It's called the Golden Lion Blade, she explains. A secret technique of my family. An image flickers in the background. A golden lion banner rippling in the wind, proud and fierce. It allows me to create multiple slashes at once, she continues. Real and illusionary strikes, overlapping until you can't tell them apart. Once it's mastered, there's almost no way to defend against it. She pauses, a faint smile tugging at her lips. I'm still not that good. I can only manage 3 trails right now. But true masters, they can unleash more than 10 in a single breath. Ian whistles quietly, impressed. That's pretty amazing, he admits. But, isn't it kind of risky showing me something like that? Isn't it supposed to be a family secret? Syria waves a hand, brushing it off. It's fine, she says. With your skills, you couldn't copy it anyway. Then it hits her. Her words. Her eyes widen. I didn't mean it like that, she blurts, flustered. You're already really strong. I wasn't thinking. Ian blinks, then bursts into an easy laugh. Nah, you're not wrong, he says, still chuckling. But when he sees her embarrassed face, he softens. Sorry. I didn't mean to tease. The tension fades as the night air settles around them. The full moon rises high above, bathing the training grounds in silver light. Syria exhales, relieved. It's fine, she says with a small smile. Ian looks at her, quietly thoughtful. He can tell she's changing, learning to care about how her words affect others. It's subtle, but it's there. And it makes him smile. Then her expression turns serious again. I heard what happened yesterday, she says softly. Thank you for handling it. Ian blinks, then gently reaches out and takes her hands. Hey, he says, his voice calm and reassuring, don't worry about it. We help each other when things go wrong. That's what friends do. He looks straight into her eyes, a warm smile lighting his face. We're friends, right? Syria freezes, her blue eyes wide. The words echo in her chest. Friends, she stammers, her cheeks flushed. He nods easily. Of course. So you don't have to be so formal around me all the time, okay? She lowers her head, steam practically rising from her face. His words, simple and honest, hit her harder than any compliment ever could. A quiet warmth blooms in her chest. I guess it's not all bad, she thinks, smiling faintly to herself. Then she lifts her gaze again, the shyness fading into determination. Of course, she says firmly. But I still have to solve my own problems. On my own. Ian blinks, surprised by the sudden shift in her tone. Here? Where's that coming from? He thinks, watching her in mild confusion. She just gives him a small, confident smile. He shrugs, half amused, half unsure, and says lightly, well, just let me know if anything happens, all right? He means it. He trusts her, completely, even if he doesn't fully understand what's changed in her heart. Ian tilts his head slightly, still unsure what she means. He doesn't quite understand. Syria blinks at him, her expression confused. Here? Did I say something? She asks, completely baffled, only realizing too late that she'd spoken her thoughts aloud. Ian chuckles softly, and she quickly clears her throat, trying to recover. Anyway, she says briskly, let's start practice. She steps back, sword in hand. Her aura blooms around her, a brilliant blue light that swirls and pulses like rippling water. Ian watches in silence, his eyes narrowing. Her aura, it's steadier than before. He studies her every movement, the precision of her footwork, the rhythm of her breathing. But then something catches his eye. He leans forward slightly, a deep look of concentration forming on his face. Wait, hold on. There's something different. Something subtle, but unmistakable. He keeps watching as she spins, her sword trailing arcs of light that shimmer in the dim air. Finally, he speaks. Has your aura's color changed? Syria freezes mid-swing, blinking in surprise. She looks down at her sword, the faint glow reflecting across her face. Oh, she says casually, I suppose it has. Ian straightens, his tone suddenly serious. No, that's a big deal. She blinks again, startled by his urgency. It might not look like much, he explains, but I remember your aura. It used to be lighter, almost sky blue. Now it's darker, deeper. He meets her eyes. That kind of change doesn't just happen. Your aura reflects your subconscious. If the color shifted, something inside you changed too. Syria frowns slightly, unsure how to respond. I don't think anything's really changed, she says quietly. I'm the same as before. Ian's gaze softens. Could it be because of your mother? The question lands like a stone in still water. Syria flinches, her eyes flickering downward. For a moment, she forces a small smile. It still stings, she admits softly. But it was a long time ago. He looks at her, unconvinced. All over? He asks quietly. Her expression hardens. Yes, she says firmly. But her voice trembles. A memory unfolds. A grand hall bathed in cold light. A faceless man, her father, stands above her mother, who kneels before him in tears. Voice breaking. Don't take me from my child. Her father's response is sharp, unyielding. Get rid of that wretched woman. Knights move in. There's a flash of steel. And blood splatters across the marble floor. Her mother, wounded and chained, still reaches out for Syria. Run, she gasps. Don't look back. But Syria can't move. She's frozen, paralyzed by fear. If you disobey, her family had warned, you'll be next. The memory burns in her voice as she narrates, detached and hollow. My mother left, and then my sister, Delphine, spoke. A young Syria stands beside her sister, trembling. Delphine's eyes are cold, her tone sharper than a blade. If you can't prove you're useful, she says, you'll end up just like her. Those words carve themselves deep into Syria's heart. Back in the present, Syria lowers her sword, her voice calm but distant. From that moment on, she says, I devoted everything to the sword. I had to prove I was worth keeping. Ian listens quietly, the weight of her words sinking in. Then, softly, he asks. So that's why you want to defeat your sister? To prove you're strong enough to surpass her? Syria turns her gaze away, her eyes distant and thoughtful. At first, I thought that was it, she says. That I just wanted to prove myself. To show everyone I wasn't weak. Her hand drifts to her chest, resting lightly over her heart. But now. Syria straightens her back, her voice steady but filled with quiet conviction. More than anything, she says, I want to prove to myself that I'm not weak. Her words linger in the air like a promise. Then she looks up at Ian, a soft smile curving her lips. But, with you by my side, there's nothing to worry about anyway. The warmth in her tone catches him off guard. I have you with me now, senior, she adds gently. Ian blinks, momentarily speechless. For a heartbeat, he can't find the right words. But hearing the full weight behind her voice, the pain she's carried, the strength it took to say that, something shifts inside him. His resolve hardens. There's no way he can just stand back anymore. A confident smile spreads across his face, his golden eyes gleaming with determination. All right then, he says firmly. If that's how you feel, all you have to do is win the hunting festival. Syria's confident smile vanishes. Her head tilts slightly, confusion written all over her face. Heh, she murmurs, a giant question mark practically floating above her. She imagines facing Delphine, her sister, the strongest in the academy, in a one-on-one match. The thought alone feels impossible. The setting sun paints the training grounds in shades of gold and crimson as Ian steps closer, his voice calm but decisive. The hunting festival's a team competition, he explains. Her eyes widen. A team competition? Ian grins, full of confidence. That's right, he says. So don't worry. We'll figure something out. His voice is bright, full of the unwavering optimism that somehow always feels contagious. Scene shift. A dark chamber, lit only by slivers of moonlight. The mysterious green-haired girl stands beside a shadowed figure, Delphine. Lady Delphine, the girl says smoothly. Syria's confirmed for the festival. Delphine's eyes narrow, her voice cutting through the silence like ice. So, she's actually going through with it. The green-haired girl tilts her head, smiling faintly. The rumors were just an appetizer, Delphine continues coldly. Her eyes glint with cruel intent. Now, it's time to destroy her completely. The next morning. Sunlight filters softly through the trees around the training grounds. Ian exhales, lowering his sword after an intense session. Sweat glints on his skin as he straightens and glances toward Syria. Good work, he says with an easy smile, simple, but genuine. Syria nods, returning the smile. Thank you, she replies softly. For a moment, the tension between them eases into something comfortable, almost peaceful. But as Ian catches his breath, his thoughts begin to drift. Right, the letter. The one from the future. He'd been so wrapped up in Syria's troubles, he'd completely forgotten about it. He should look into it again. Soon. Turning, he starts to leave. I've got something to take care of, he says over his shoulder. But before he can take a single step, a soft hand catches his wrist. Wait, senior. He turns. Syria's cheeks are faintly pink, her gaze flickering away for a moment before she meets his eyes again. Would you like to have breakfast with me? She asks, her voice quiet but hopeful. For a moment, Ian just stares, surprised, and then his lips curl into a smile. He's about to say yes when a teasing voice cuts sharply through the air. Well, if it isn't my useless senior. Ian's smile falters. He doesn't even need to look to know who it is. Celine strolls toward them, her steps confident and deliberate, a smirk playing at the corners of her lips. Training already done? She asks sweetly, her tone dripping with mischief. Ian's brow twitches. Who are you calling useless? He shoots back. The light banter instantly shifts the air between them. Playful, competitive, alive. Celine ignores Syria completely, her gaze locked on Ian as if no one else exists. Syria, still holding her composure, offers a polite, almost forced smile. But her bright blue eyes flick between them, uncertain, curious, and maybe, just a little uneasy. The air grows still for a heartbeat. Syria breaks the silence first, her voice calm but polite. Good morning. Celine doesn't even glance her way. Instead, she flashes Ian a bright smile and says casually. So, you're coming to eat, right? It's not a question, it's a statement. Before Ian can respond, Celine loops her arm through his, pulling him close. We'll go together, she declares confidently, that familiar glint of mischief burning in her eyes. Ian blinks, completely caught off guard. Here? Wait, since when do we ever eat together? He thinks, utterly confused as Celine drags him along. But Celine just keeps walking, a satisfied smile on her face, clearly pleased with herself. Behind them, Syria's hand twitches. A faint blue light flickers around her fingers, her dig magic, sparking to life for a moment before she stops herself. No excuses, she tells herself, her aura pulsing stronger. She's done standing still. Her hand shoots forward, gripping Ian's free arm. He freezes, caught right in the middle as both girls pull in opposite directions. Students passing by slow down to watch, whispering to each other with wide grins. Two male students exchange amused looks. Hey, check that out, one says, nudging the other. The second snickers. This should be good. Celine turns sharply, her eyes narrowing as she recognizes her rival. You're Dina, she says coolly. Then her expression darkens, a flicker of possessiveness flashing through her golden eyes. A crimson aura crackles faintly around her. Do you need something from my Ian? She asks, her tone sharp, almost daring. Ian blinks, bewildered. My Ian? He stares blankly for a second. Did she eat something weird this morning? Syria's expression is cold now, her blue aura steady and sharp. Her gaze meets Celine's head-on. Let go of his arm, she says evenly, voice like ice. Celine smirks, stepping closer. And who do you think you are? She fires back. Her golden eyes burn with challenge. Ian and I are always like this. Always? Ian thinks, sweat dropping. When did that happen? Celine's stare grows harder, resentment gleaming behind her confident grin. Don't get cocky just because you got a little close to him, she thinks bitterly. Her words cut deeper as she continues, you're just a friendless loser. Ian only pays attention to you because he pities you. Ian flinches. Wait, what? I never said anything like that, he blurts out, horrified. But Syria doesn't rise to the bait. Her aura glows brighter, calm and controlled. Her voice is steady when she speaks. Tell me something, Celine, she says coolly. Were you one of the people talking behind my back? Celine jerks back slightly, caught off guard. What? Of course not, she protests quickly. A faint, knowing smirk touches Syria's lips. Oh, she says lightly. Because the way you're showing that ugly inferiority complex, you really could be one of them. The jab lands perfectly, sharp, precise, and merciless. Celine's face twists with anger, her red aura flaring hotter. She glares fiercely. You! Syria doesn't back down. Her expression stays calm, almost defiant. You said Ian only talks to me because I'm pathetic, right? She says evenly. Then fine. I'll stay pathetic. Her voice sharpens, cutting through the tension like a blade. We can be pathetic together, all the time. The challenge is unmistakable. Their auras surge, blue and red clashing violently in the air. The ground trembles faintly beneath them as the pressure builds. Go ahead, Syria says, her tone low, unwavering. Draw your sword. I won't hold back either. For a heartbeat, it feels like they might actually fight. Magic hums between them, the tension so thick it crackles. Then, enough! Ian's voice cuts through the chaos, raw and desperate. Both girls stop, startled. He stands there, face tight with frustration, voice trembling but firm. Both of you, he says, looking from one to the other, just leave me alone for a while. The words hang heavy in the air. Syria and Celine freeze, the fire in their eyes dimming, just for a moment. Neither says a word as Ian turns away, his shoulders tense, walking off into the fading light. The crowd around them disperses slowly, whispering. And the two girls are left standing there, silence stretching between them. Their auras flickering softly, their rivalry far from over. The courtyard is quiet now. Syria and Celine stand there, neither speaking, their auras finally dimmed, but the tension between them still burns just beneath the surface. It's not over. Not by a long shot. Later that day, Ian slumps in a cafe chair, looking absolutely drained. His head rests in his hand as he stares blankly at the cup in front of him. Across the table, Leto raises an eyebrow. So, let me get this straight, he says slowly. You just left them there? Ian groans, dragging a hand down his face. Yeah, he mutters. Syria got all fired up, Celine started saying weird things, and then... I don't know, I just snapped. Leto leans back, lips twitching with amusement. Must be nice though, he teases. Two gorgeous girls fighting over you. Classic problem. Ian shoots him a flat look, his golden eyes narrowing dangerously. Say one more word, he warns, and I swear, I'll knock you out right here. Leto laughs, holding up his hands in mock surrender. All right. Touchy. Ian sighs heavily, rubbing the back of his neck. It's probably complicated for Celine, too, he admits. Having, someone new like Syria show up out of nowhere. Leto blinks, confused. Wait, what do you mean? Ian waves it off, oblivious. Forget it. Leto groans, burying his face in his hands. You're hopeless, he mutters. Completely clueless. Then he straightens, his playful grin returning. Anyway, how's the investigation going? Ian perks up slightly. Right. The green-haired girl. Leto leans forward, elbows on the table. It's moving, he says. But it'll take about a week. I even roped in my ex and my current girlfriend to help track her down. Ian blinks. You what? Leto shrugs. What can I say? I'm persuasive. Ian groans again. A week's too long. We don't have that kind of time. If it were easy, Leto replies dryly, you wouldn't need me to investigate in the first place. Then, as if something clicks, his tone shifts, calmer, almost thoughtful. By the way, he says slowly, I've been meaning to ask you something. He leans in, his green eyes narrowing with curiosity. You think it's possible to receive a letter from the future? Ian blinks at him, exasperated. What's with you today? He says. Why are you suddenly talking about? Then he pauses. A thought flickers across his face. Actually, he says quietly, I should just show you. He reaches into his coat and pulls something out. Look at this, he says, holding it out toward Leto. The panel tightens on Leto's face, his sharp green eye glowing faintly with magical perception. Look at what? He asks, squinting. All he sees is empty air. Ian frowns. This letter, he says seriously. It came from the future. Leto stares blankly. What did you eat today? Ian pushes the invisible paper closer, but Leto's hand passes right through it. There's nothing here, Leto says, frowning. Then, a flicker. A faint shimmer of magic pulses in the air, just for a split second. Leto jerks his hand back, eyes wide. What the? He exclaims. What was that? Ian sits back, calm but serious. I'm not cursed, he explains. This letter, it's how I knew about Emma's accident. And the beast attack. Leto stares at him for a long moment before finally speaking. So, this thing warns you about the future? Ian nods. Exactly. Leto tilts his head. Then did it say anything else? Ian's voice drops, firm. Yes. A powerful beast is going to appear at the hunting festival. Leto waves a hand dismissively. That's normal. There are always powerful beasts there. Ian leans forward, eyes narrowing. No. Not like that. His voice is low, tense. It said a powerful beast will appear at this year's festival. Leto looks confused. Okay, but why are you stressing this year? Ian exhales sharply, frustration rising. The faint magical shimmer flickers again in his hand. He activates his own perception, his golden eyes glowing faintly. But the letter is still invisible to everyone else. Is the information being distorted? He wonders, jaw tightening. He sighs in defeat, lowering the letter. Trying to explain something no one else can even see feels impossible. Leto, now watching him seriously, folds his arms. All right, he says quietly. Let's assume what you're saying is true. Leto leans forward, his expression unusually serious. All right, he says slowly. Let's assume everything you're saying is true. The air between them grows heavier. In that case, Leto continues, eyes narrowing, you've probably experienced some kind of time distortion. A faint magical pattern begins to pulse around Ian, golden symbols flickering through the air. Leto's tone darkens. And that is a disaster. Ian blinks. A disaster? What do you mean? Leto sighs, muttering under his breath, idiot. Then he looks up, his voice low and deliberate. Time-manipulating magic is one of the highest tiers there is. Do you know why? Ian tilts his head. Because it's hard to use? Leto clicks his tongue in irritation. No. Because it breaks the world's natural order. The space around them flickers, an image forming of the letter floating within a fractured, glitching reality. Time, Leto says, isn't meant to be touched. Change even one thread, and everything connected to it begins to unravel. He leans back, his green eyes glowing faintly. Let's take your wolf beast, for example, he says. You said the letter warned you about it, right? Ian nods silently. Then answer this, Leto says, his tone sharp. In the original timeline, the one where you got that letter, how did you defeat it? Ian opens his mouth, but no words come out. Because there was no original victory. Leto's gaze darkens. Exactly, he says grimly. If the beast wasn't defeated in the original future, then the person who wrote that letter could never have sent it. The air around them distorts, showing a shadowed figure hunched over a glowing desk, writing as cracks tear through the space around them. Reality itself seems to shatter, past and future colliding in a spiral of chaos. The moment you act on knowledge of the future, Leto explains, you're creating a paradox. The future becomes the past becomes the future, over and over. Until reality breaks completely. His words are heavy, his tone grave. And when that happens, the world doesn't just bend. It collapses. Ian sits frozen, a faint bead of sweat sliding down his temple. His golden eyes widen as the enormity of it hits him. So, what you're saying is? Leto cuts him off quietly. Yes. If you keep trying to change what's meant to happen. He looks him dead in the eye. You could become the very thing that destroys this world. The words echo in Ian's head like a curse. He stares at the invisible letter in his hand, the glowing symbols flickering faintly, almost mocking him. In other words, he thinks numbly, just knowing the future makes me a potential disaster. He sits in stunned silence, his heartbeat pounding in his ears. Across from him, Leto takes a casual sip of his drink, unbothered by the weight of his own revelation. It's possible, he says simply. That's why I'm warning you. Be careful. Then, with a smirk, he adds dryly, though since you don't seem to care about dying, I guess that's not really a problem for you. Ian doesn't laugh. He just stares down at the flickering letter, its ancient script swirling in patterns he can't fully read. Even if this thing was meant to help me, if I make the wrong move, I could destroy everything. His chest tightens with bitter realization. I'm just some countryside noble, he mutters under his breath, the words dripping with irony. The glow around him intensifies as frustration and helplessness swirl together. So how am I supposed to handle all of this by myself? He clenches his fist, the letter flickering in his grip as his emotions surge. What should I do from this point on? He rises abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor, hand reaching out towards something unseen, something just beyond his grasp. The light around him flickers, pulsing violently as his thoughts spiral. And then, a sharp voice cuts through the tension like a blade. A sharp voice cuts through the air. Hey, you! Ian looks up, startled. A shadow descends from above, landing gracefully on the cobblestone path with a soft thump. The figure straightens, tall, commanding, and unmistakably furious. Elsie Rinella. Her black witch's hat tilts slightly as she steps forward, blue eyes blazing like lightning. You're the one who beat up my little brother, aren't you? Ian freezes, his stomach dropping. Every instinct screams run, but his body refuses to move. She takes another step, then another. Each footfall echoes across the courtyard, heavy and deliberate, a faint magical shimmer coiling around her like heat. Ian's face goes pale. He recognizes her instantly. Lupin's sister. And not just any sibling, a faction leader. One of the most powerful in the entire academy. Around her, several students appear, her followers. Each one glares at Ian with open hostility, their magic faintly sparking in the air. He's surrounded. Across the courtyard, Lupin, still bandaged from his last encounter, stares in horror. Sis, why not here to take revenge, are you? He stammers, voice trembling. Elsie doesn't even glance at him. She just mutters, pathetic, before turning her piercing gaze back to Ian. Her aura swells, dark blue magic radiating from her in waves. Ian can practically feel the air tighten around him. Did you really think, she says coldly, that the Rinella family would just let that slide? A bold text flashes across the scene. Elsie Rinella, leader of the Rinella faction. One of the Academy's two great powers. Ian rubs a hand over his face, groaning. Seriously, he mutters under his breath. Even after the Saintess tried to calm things down, he still sent his sister after me. He sighs in defeat, shoulders slumping. Great. I'm done for. He decides, half jokingly, half serious, that maybe it's better to just let them beat him up and get it over with. Meanwhile, Lupin frantically waves his hands. Wait, sis. You don't understand. That guy, he's dangerous. Elsie frowns, her lip curling in disgust. Dangerous, she scoffs. You're the one shaking like a leaf. She raises her staff, magical light beginning to spiral around the tip. Ian braces himself, every muscle tensing. Here it comes. But before the spell can fire, a voice slices through the tension. Enough. The air itself trembles. A gust of wind whips across the courtyard as a new figure approaches, her golden aura radiating authority. Long blonde hair gleams under the sunlight, her steps measured, confident, unstoppable. Delphine Yordina. Her presence alone is enough to make the gathered students flinch. She extends one regal hand, golden light rippling through the air like the rings of a crown. Elsie turns sharply, momentarily taken aback. Delphine, she mutters, her composure faltering. Delphine walks right past Ian and the fallen Lupin without a glance. Her attention is fixed solely on Elsie. Why are you fighting in front of the students? Delphine asks, her tone dripping with disdain. It's an eyesore. Elsie's eyes narrow. That's my line. The tension crackles between them, their auras clashing, blue against gold, heat against light. Delphine's glare sharpens. You're in the way, she says coldly. Step aside. When Elsie doesn't move, Delphine's words turn razor-sharp. Then shut up, she says, her voice low and cutting. Shut up, and go somewhere else. The crowd goes silent. The golden aura around Delphine surges, radiating raw power that ripples through the courtyard like a storm about to break. Ian can only stare, half awestruck, half terrified. In that moment, watching Delphine stand toe-to-toe with one of the Academy's strongest leaders, he realizes just how enormous the gap between them truly is. He realizes this is the first time he's been this close to her. Her presence radiates power, something that commands attention. For a moment, he's caught in that aura, unsure of what to do next. Since she's Syria's sister, maybe he could start a conversation, but the thought fades quickly. Getting tangled with nobles of her level? Never a good idea. He decides to slip away quietly. But before he can move, her voice slices through the air, sharp, cold, and impossible to ignore. Where do you think you're going? Delphine turns just enough for her piercing gaze to lock onto him. A faint, mocking smile forms on her lips. Were you planning to run? Caught off guard, Ian stammers, No, I wouldn't dare. His grip tightens around his sword. I really don't want to fight, he exhales heavily, and something in his eyes changes, hesitation giving way to determination. Then it hits him. Wait, maybe this could work. A new plan flickers to life in his mind. Elsie watches him with an amused smirk before turning to Delphine. I like that guy, she says casually. Take your time. I don't mind waiting if you want to play with him first. Her words drip with arrogance, a deliberate taunt. Delphine's face darkens, her voice low and dangerous. What exactly do you think you're doing? Especially after what you did to my sister? The meaning is clear, she knows about the cruelty Syria endured. The tension explodes like lightning. Cracks split the ground as her energy surges. The air trembles. A burst of blood stains the scene, a glimpse of just how deadly she can be. Elsie flinches. For once, fear flashes across her face. Delphine moves, fast, impossibly fast, appearing behind her in an instant. Elsie's breath catches, panic setting in. Delphine's eyes blaze, cold and merciless. Say whatever you want about me, she says, voice like ice. But you will not involve Syria. Her gaze hardens. Tell me, how do you plan to pay the price for that? Her words echo like thunder. Elsie's bravado vanishes. She stares in disbelief, until she realizes Ian is moving toward her. He's actually attacking. With a sudden burst of energy, Ian lashes out, his kick sending a shockwave that cracks Elsie's magical barrier. He doesn't stop, his next strike, a punch glowing with red-hot energy, smashes through her shimmering blue shield. It shatters into fragments of light before she's blasted backward, blood scattering through the air. Delphine's expression darkens further. You bastard, she growls. She lunges forward, her speed explosive. But Ian's eyes ignite, gold and fierce, as the markings of his other self crawl across his face. His power spikes to its peak. He moves like a storm, launching a barrage of glowing blue strikes, each hit fast and precise. The air trembles from the force of his assault as Delphine braces herself, standing firm amid the whirlwind of power erupting before her. Delphine's aura shifts, deep crimson light floods around her as she raises her sword. Her tone is cold and sharp. Too slow. Her blade meets his strike effortlessly, deflecting it with a single motion. Then, in a blur of red light, she counters, a crushing blow that sends Ian hurtling through the air. He crashes to the ground, the impact echoing through the arena. Dazed and breathless, he forces himself up, vision spinning. Above him, Delphine stands tall, her shadow looming like a storm. Around them, the other students remain scattered, proof of just how outmatched they are. From the sidelines, Sean watches in silence. His golden eyes widen. For the first time, he truly sees the gulf between them. Delphine's power swells again. Blue energy coils around her like a living storm before she releases it in a devastating wave. The ground splits apart, shockwaves rippling through the air. She lowers her hand, eyes cold and voice almost amused. "Good," she says softly. "This is how it should be." Elsie, still catching her breath, glances at Ian with a hint of respect she hadn't shown before. "Let's finish this, fair and square." Ian wipes the blood from his lip and smirks. His golden eyes burn with light. "The small fry are already dealt with," he says calmly. "Now it's just you and me." Elsie stares at him, disbelief flashing across her face. "You've lost your mind," she snaps. "You really think you can win?" Ian's voice cuts through the tension, firm and defiant. "You don't know until you try." A close-up shows his eyes, steady, glowing gold, filled with unshakable resolve. Elsie lifts her hand, magic surging violently. A beam of power explodes toward him, tearing the air apart. Ian meets it head-on, his sword blazing with energy. Their clash erupts in a shockwave that shakes the ground. More blasts follow, red bursts of magic raining down on him like meteors. Ian holds his ground, a shimmering blue aura enveloping his body. Each hit detonates with thunderous force, yet he doesn't falter. Elsie watches, faint surprise flickering in her expression. "You're stronger than I thought," she admits. "Maybe, you really could break my shield." Ian's eyes glow crimson now, his voice steady. "Let's find out how long it'll last." Their battle intensifies. Energy floods the field, blue and red colliding in waves of destruction. The air twists under the pressure of their powers. Elsie narrows her eyes, confidence burning bright. "You're delusional," she says with a smirk. "If you think you can actually break it." She pauses, her gaze sharp as she studies him. "Your opening strikes weren't bad. And I'll give you credit, taking down my followers wasn't easy." Her expression hardens. "But someone like you, stuck in third gear, could never defeat me." Ian meets her glare without flinching. His aura flares, red light pulsing violently around him as his power climbs higher. His golden eyes blaze with a fierce, almost dangerous intensity. Elsie braces herself, but Ian's power keeps climbing, raw and unrestrained. Her shield trembles under the crushing force. A gasp escapes her, followed by a growl of frustration as she struggles to hold her ground. "You, little," she mutters, eyes wide in disbelief. Ian's evil spirit form ignites fully. His eyes blaze with a sinister glow as he charges forward, red energy crackling around him. His blade slashes through the air, cutting against her defense. "Still so confident, heh?" he sneers, voice low and mocking. His sword rises high, aura pulsing like fire. "Let's see if you're still talking when that shield of yours shatters." The next strike hits like thunder. The ground shakes as the impact ripples outward, cracks spiderweb across her barrier. "When your shield breaks," he roars, "don't say I didn't warn you." The blue wall around her fractures, splintering under his relentless pressure. Elsie's expression twists between pain and shock. "Don't make me laugh," she shouts, forcing a defiant grin. "I'm one of the best mags in this academy." Ian doesn't slow down. He drives forward, each hit heavier than the last. "She really thinks this flimsy barrier can stop me?" he thinks, pushing harder. Elsie, cornered, throws everything she has into one final spell. Her eyes flash bright blue as a massive wave of force explodes outward, shaking the field. Students nearby scramble to escape the chaos. The blast hits Ian head-on, but his power only grows. The red aura surrounding him rages like wildfire, devouring her attack. Elsie's voice breaks. "Please, stop," she cries, tears streaking down her face. "Someone help me." Ian's eyes narrow, glowing crimson. "What's wrong?" he asks coldly. "Weren't you the one who said I was beneath you?" She trembles, whispering, "You're terrifying." His voice drops, calm but chilling. You should have thought about that before starting this. Dark energy swirls around him as he lowers his weapon. Death is part of any fight fought with honor, he says. Elsie flinches, retreating as his presence looms over her. Then, slowly, the red aura fades. Ian slides his weapon back into place. I'll let you off this time, he says flatly. Next time, you won't be so lucky. He turns and walks away, his steps echoing across the silent field. Behind him, a voice calls out. Hey! He glances back. Delphine stands there, a faint, curious smile on her face. Could I have some of your time? She asks smoothly. There's something I'd like to discuss. The camera pans upward. The academy clock tower looms above, its bells silent, the sunlight glinting off its stone. The Grand Academy stands tall in the distance, watching silently over the clash of power and pride beneath it. Leto appears beside Ian, grinning. So you're the one Delphine was talking to, he jokes. Didn't expect the infamous axe-wielding murderer to be you. Ian exhales, clearly too tired for this. Seriously, he mutters, running a hand through his hair. Leto just laughs. Come on, don't give me that look. Ian turns toward him, golden eyes gleaming faintly. Want to find out what fear really feels like? He asks, half teasing, half serious. Leto doesn't even flinch. Man, you're way cooler when you go all out, he says with a grin. Then his tone shifts, more thoughtful. I heard rumors about you and Delphine. Ian nods slowly. Yeah. It just happened that way. Leto leans closer. So? What did she want? No idea, Ian replies. She just asked to meet tonight. His tone says everything, he's not thrilled about it. Getting tangled with the Yordina family isn't something he plans to enjoy. Leto changes the subject, his tone more serious now. So, did you ever find out who's behind all that harassment? That's actually why I came to see you, Ian replies, pulling a folded piece of paper from his pocket. Read this. Leto unfolds it, scanning the page carefully. His brows knit together as he reads. Heh, he murmurs, deep in thought. Then he looks up, eyes narrowing slightly. Didn't expect you to be this calm about it. Ian shrugs. I just am. He explains that before, they only had fragments, a few scattered clues. But once he thought about why everything started, the answer became obvious. Leto studies him, then smirks knowingly. So the info I gave you confirmed it, here. Yeah, Ian says quietly. Exactly. Leto leans back. Then what's next? Ian's expression hardens. His golden eyes flash with resolve. First, he says, I'm going to meet the person responsible. His tone turns cold. What happens after that depends on their answer. The scene fades, the chaos of battle replaced by calm birdsong and rustling leaves. A peaceful forest clearing. Syria sits alone on a mossy rock, her head bowed. The late afternoon light filters softly through the trees. In her hands, she clutches a small piece of paper, the latest report on the Rinella incident. Senior Ian, she whispers. Her voice trembles slightly. He fought for me again. She stares at the letter, guilt and gratitude mixing in her chest. Else's attack, all of it, had only happened because he stood up for her. I thought I could handle things myself, she sighs, her voice barely above a whisper. But in the end, he saved me again. Her independence and pride weigh heavily against her helplessness. Then, a familiar voice breaks the silence. Why do you look so down? She jumps, startled. Senior Ian. He chuckles lightly as she quickly wipes her eyes, trying to compose herself. Well, she stammers, looking away. It's nothing. Her gaze drifts back toward him, hesitant. About the other day, she says quietly. I'm sorry. For everything. Especially how I treated Celine. Ian smiles, his tone warm and reassuring. Hey, don't worry about it. I'm not mad. But Syria's eyes drop again. It's just, every time, I end up doing nothing while you keep helping me. Her hands tighten around the paper. Even this time, you fought for me. And even Senior Elsie got dragged into it. Ian smiles softly. I'm fine, he says. So it's okay to rely on me sometimes. He glances out toward the trees, their leaves swaying gently in the wind. When one of us is in trouble, he says, we should count on each other. Next time, maybe you'll be the one helping me. Syria looks up at him, eyes wide, a quiet understanding settling between them. I see, she murmurs. Her cheeks warm to a deep pink. She fidgets, looking away shyly before turning back, voice barely audible. Then, she hesitates, her hands trembling slightly. Can I hug you? Ian freezes, completely blindsided. Here! His eyes widen in disbelief, jaw half open. Syria can't even look at him, her face burning bright red as she waits, flustered and nervous. The forest falls silent again, the moment hanging, soft and uncertain, as Ian tries to process what just happened. Ian blinks in surprise, completely caught off guard. Wait, hold on, he stammers, frozen. Before he can even react, Syria suddenly steps forward and wraps her arms around him, pressing her face against his chest. Her embrace is tight, trembling with emotion. Ian goes stiff, eyes wide. What's happening? What do I do with my hands? His thoughts race in panic. He awkwardly tries to pull back. Syria, But before he can finish, he feels her shoulders shake. Tears stream down her cheeks as she clings to him, voice muffled against his chest. My mother used to hug me when I cried, she whispers. The words tremble. When I felt scared or weak, she'd hold me just like this. The memory breaks through her composure, and another quiet sob escapes her. Ian's panic softens. His voice gentles. Did I do something wrong? She shakes her head frantically. And no, it's not that. She wipes her face, flustered, her cheeks flush deep red. I just felt like I needed this. Her breathing slows as she calms herself. She keeps her eyes closed for a moment longer, her expression soft and peaceful. Then, suddenly, her eyes snap open. She gasps, pulling back. Look! She points toward a small bloom growing beside the rock, a delicate blue flower glowing faintly in the sunlight. A Syria flower, here, she exclaims. That's strange, they only bloom up north. Ian repeats the name under his breath. Syria? His golden eyes widen slightly. A flicker of recognition. Wait. Syria. The letters from the future, every single one signed under that name. How could I have forgotten? He looks at Syria, curiosity tightening in his chest. Do you like that flower? He asks carefully. Syria smiles, her face lighting up with warmth. Ham. My mother loved it. So, I do too. Ian's expression hardens with thought. The pieces start falling into place, her connection to the flower, the tone of those letters, the gentle handwriting, the personal warmth that had always felt familiar. Could it be her? His mind flashes through memory after memory, Syria's smile, her words, and those mysterious letters that spoke of a shared future. Is Syria? The realization hits him like a thunderclap. His heart pounds as disbelief washes over him. No, that can't be right. He closes his eyes, trying to shake off the thought. There's no way. Even if the letter said I'd marry someone named Syria. Syria's just a junior. That's impossible. He exhales sharply, forcing his composure back. His mind is chaos, but his voice stays steady. Syria, he says, can I ask you something personal? She tilts her head, curious. Here? Sure, what is it? Ian gathers his courage, his tone careful. About your family, is Delphine already the designated heir? Syria's gaze falters, her smile fading as she looks away. The wind rustles through the clearing, carrying the weight of unspoken truths. Syria's expression softens into something heavy, almost resigned. No, she says quietly. I don't have the qualifications, or the ability. She looks down, voice trembling but steady. My sister, she has everything. The talent, the strength, the support. Everyone believes in her. Ian watches her closely, then asks bluntly, does she keep you on a leash? Syria flinches. What? No, she hesitates, her words faltering. I've never defied her. Her eyes glow faintly blue as a shadow crosses her face. The past seeps into her voice, cold and distant. I've always done exactly what she told me to. Quietly. Obediently. A dark image flashes, her mother, bound by thorned vines, her face filled with silent agony. A haunting memory, the price of disobedience. Syria's voice grows softer. She once told me, if I wasn't useful, then I was worthless. She takes a shaky breath. So I did whatever I could to stay useful. For a long moment, there's silence. Only the wind moves between them. Then she looks up, her tone shifting. But that changed, she says quietly. During the hunting festival. I finally decided to stop being afraid and fight back. Ian's gaze lingers on her, thoughtful, sympathetic. He can see it now, the years of fear she's carried. Syria blushes slightly under his steady stare. "Why are you so interested in all this?" she asks, her voice small. Ian blinks, caught off guard. "Ah, nothing in particular," he says quickly, brushing it off with a small laugh. He rests a hand on his sword, tone casual but eyes sharp. "I just thought I might have to face your sister soon. Figured I should know what kind of person she really is." His words sound light, but something deeper flickers behind them. Purpose, maybe even warning. The scene shifts. Aedelas Hall, the dormitory of high-ranking nobles. Its marble walls gleam under the evening light, exuding wealth and power. An attendant greets him at the entrance. "Sir Ian, Lady Delphine is expecting you. Please, this way." Ian nods. "Thank you." As he walks the long, ornate corridor, his thoughts whirl. Just her and me. His steps slow slightly. She's nothing like Syria. She's sharper. More dangerous. He clenches his fists, golden eyes burning with quiet resolve. This is my chance. I have to learn the truth. He stops at her door and clears his throat. "Excuse me," he calls out softly. "Come in," a smooth, commanding voice replies. He steps inside and freezes. Delphine lounges gracefully on a velvet sofa, the faintest smirk curving her lips. "Welcome," she says, her tone both polite and teasing. Ian's eyes widen slightly when she addresses him. "Prince of the Axe," she purrs. The air thickens. The flowers arranged behind her darken subtly, their colors deepening, an unspoken aura of danger and deception. She's draped in a sheer white robe, loose and elegant, but just translucent enough to unsettle him. Her beauty radiates power, confident, untouchable, commanding. Ian's face reddens instantly. Why is she dressed like that? He forces himself to look away. Senior Delphine, he says awkwardly, clearing his throat, you might want to change. Her lips curve into an amused smile. Oh? You don't like what you see? He waves his hands quickly, flustered. No. I mean, you look beautiful, it's just. Her smirk widens, clearly enjoying his discomfort. I'm glad to hear that, she says, her tone like silk. Please, have a seat. He sits, still trying to regain composure. It's just, maybe you should be a little more mindful about your appearance. Especially in front of a man. Delphine tilts her head, pouring herself a glass of wine with slow, deliberate grace. And why would I do that? She asks smoothly. Her eyes meet his, sharp, confident, unreadable. Seeing something beautiful makes people want to claim it, she says, her voice soft but laced with power. That's why most women hide, to avoid being taken. She takes a sip, the faintest gleam in her eye. But me? She leans back, her smile bold. No one can have me. So why should I bother hiding? Ian studies her, torn between irritation and admiration. She's dangerous, proud, intelligent, and completely in control. And yet, he can't look away. Ian studies her quietly, a flicker of reluctant admiration crossing his mind. There's no denying it. No man in the academy could match her presence, her composure, or her sheer authority. Delphine refills her glass with slow precision, her gaze sharp as the edge of a blade. You're still quite naive, she says coolly. Ian exhales through his nose, faintly annoyed. What can I say? I grew up in the countryside. I don't really understand all this. Delphine's smirk deepens. Then you'd better learn quickly, she says smoothly. Because in our world, this, she gestures around the lavish room, is just daily life for the powerful. Ian nods, but an uneasy thought lingers in the back of his mind. Why does it feel like she's trying to seduce me? Then her voice cuts through the air, steady and commanding. Now then, she says, setting her glass down with a faint clink. Let's get to the matter at hand. She leans forward, her tone shifting. Become my ally, Prince of the Axe. Ian blinks. Me? Delphine smiles faintly. Yes. I've never met anyone quite as interesting as you. Her words are smooth, deliberate. Join my faction, And I'll make sure you receive the best treatment the Academy can offer. Ian's thoughts race. Is she serious? Or is this some kind of trap? Something about her offer feels too easy, too dangerous. He straightens, his expression calm but cautious. Before I answer, he says slowly, I have a question. Delphine arches a brow, intrigued. Oh? What kind of question? He leans forward slightly, his tone turning cold. Are you aware of the harassment Syria's been dealing with lately? Delphine's eyes flicker. I've heard the rumors, she replies evenly. It's disgraceful. Such gossip only tarnishes the Yordina name. Ian doesn't back down. I tracked down the ones spreading it, he says. And I found out something interesting. The person leading them has been visiting your dormitory. The air tightens. Delphine takes another slow sip of her wine, entirely unruffled. And what exactly are you suggesting? She asks, almost amused. Go on, paint me the picture. Ian's gaze hardens. Gladly. He lays it out piece by piece, his voice calm but relentless. The one who spread rumors about Syria's mother was from the Yordina family. The same person had the power to turn other students against her, and access to private information only a family member would know. He pauses, eyes glowing faintly gold, and then crimson. When you put all that together, there's only one person it could be. He looks her dead in the eye. And that person, Delphine Yordina, is you. A sharp silence cuts through the room. Then Delphine smiles, slow, cold, dangerous. You're more thorough than I expected, she says softly. But tell me, why would I ever harass my beloved little sister? Ian doesn't flinch. Maybe you didn't have a reason before, he says, his voice rising, but you do now. His golden eyes blaze. Because your perfectly obedient sister finally decided to defy you, and she did it during the hunting festival. Delphine swirls her wine lazily, feigning indifference. Interesting theory, she says. But you have no proof. I could easily have the green-haired student brought here to explain herself, if you'd like. Ian cuts her off, voice sharp. Enough. The glass stops mid-spin. For the first time, Delphine's smirk fades. The air thickens, heavy, dangerous. Then she exhales slowly, a dark smile creeping back onto her lips. Fine, she says, setting her wine down. You're right. Ian's expression darkens as she straightens, her features shifting under the soft candlelight. Shadows dance across her face, her golden eyes turning deep crimson. The refined composure she'd worn until now melts away, replaced by something cold and cruel. Her true self surfaces. To be honest, she says, her tone dripping with venom, I was the one behind it. Her lips curl into a cruel, satisfied smile, the mask of the elegant noble shattered completely. Delphine's smirk deepens, her tone turning almost casual. I was planning to leave Syria alone, she admits. But then she had the audacity to challenge me. Her words hang in the air as a series of fragmented flashbacks play, scenes of Syria's lonely childhood, her fear, her obedience, her silent tears. The weight of those memories is suffocating. Delphine's voice cuts through them like a blade. I had to remind her of her place. Never challenge your master. Ian's eyes widen, fury flashing across his face. He slams his hand down hard against the table, the sound echoing through the room. Master, he shouts. You call that teaching? She just wanted to prove herself. But Delphine only smirks, unbothered. She lifts her wine glass once more, sipping slowly, eyes never leaving his. Tell me, she says smoothly, do you still refuse my offer now? Her tone shifts, teasing, dangerous. You're impressive, Ian. I could give you a place at my side. Power. Influence. Anything you want. The air around them ripples. Shattered glass fragments float in the dim light, a symbolic reflection of her path, one of beauty and destruction intertwined. Ian's golden eyes burn, shifting into that fierce crimson glow. His voice cuts through the tension, calm but razor-sharp. Working under someone like you? He meets her gaze without flinching. That would be a massive pain. Delphine's expression doesn't falter. Instead, she lets out a soft, amused hum. Oh my, she says, voice dripping with irony. Was I that obvious? Then, without warning, she sets her glass down, and it explodes. The shards scatter across the marble floor, the echo ringing like a threat. The atmosphere changes instantly. In one smooth motion, Delphine pulls a gleaming knife from her robes. The blade catches the moonlight, flashing dangerously. Her eyes glow a deep, predatory red. Ian's eyes narrow, his body tensing. Delphine tilts her head slightly, her tone light, mocking. Relax. A girl needs some protection. She steps closer, circling him slowly, her heels clicking softly against the floor. Her gaze traces him like prey she's sizing up. The more I learn about you, she murmurs, the more interesting you become. Her knife lingers near his chest. That ability to act without hesitation, in a critical moment, that's rare. It's courage and instinct. She leans in closer, her voice lowering to a whisper. It makes me want to train you, make you mine. My own personal hunting dog. Ian doesn't move, though his jaw tightens. For a moment, silence stretches between them, her twisted amusement against his calm defiance. Then he smirks. Careful, he says quietly. Try to train me, and you'll be the one who regrets it. Delphine's laugh is low, cold, and utterly confident. Regret, she echoes. That day will only come when I've been truly defeated. She waves a hand dismissively, her smirk returning. You can go now. But the air itself seems to thrum with unspoken violence. In her mind's eye, the room flashes crimson, blood splattering across her imagination like a promise. Ian doesn't move. His eyes flare red, his aura erupting in a wave of raw power. The shift is instantaneous, his other self awakening. A wild grin spreads across his face. I'm not done yet, he roars. In a blur of motion, he hurls his axe, the weapon cutting through the air with a thunderous crack. Delphine's own eyes ignite, the faintest flicker of surprise and excitement crossing her face. She braces herself, energy swirling violently around her. Ian lunges forward, his aura blazing, a storm of power and fury. Delphine meets him head-on, her blade rising just in time, their collision erupting in a burst of light and force that shakes the hall itself. Delphine's energy flares violently as she narrowly deflects his swing, steel colliding with a flash of red light. The force cuts a thin line across her arm, a drop of blood trailing down her pale skin. She steadies herself, meeting Ian's relentless assault head-on. Between the clash of blades, her gaze hardens, part challenge, part grudging admiration. You've got a long way to go, Prince of the Axe, she says coolly. Then, with a swift motion, she drives her weapon forward, landing a powerful counterstrike. The impact knocks Ian backward, a sharp grunt escaping him as he slides across the floor. Delphine smiles, slow and cold. Don't feel too bad, she says, her voice edged with mock sympathy. Against anyone else, that move might have actually worked. Her eyes gleam dangerously. She lowers her weapon slightly, the faintest curl forming at her lips. A single, sinister thought flickers behind her expression. It's time to break him. Without hesitation, Delphine surges forward, her aura exploding in a whirlwind of crimson energy. Each strike comes faster than the last, sharp and precise, a storm of pure destruction. Ian is forced to defend desperately, his arms shaking under the sheer pressure. Sparks erupt with every clash, the shattered wine glass on the floor catching and reflecting the chaos of their duel. The sound of steel and magic fills the air. Delphine's red eyes blaze brighter, her focus absolute. She gathers her strength, readying a final, crushing blow meant to end the fight once and for all. But then, Ian smiles. It's small, sharp, cunning. Before she can react, he shifts his stance. His hand darts to his side, and with a sudden flash, a second weapon appears. A full-length sword. The blade cuts through the air, catching Delphine's attack perfectly. The sound echoes, clean, deliberate, flawless. Delphine freezes, eyes wide in disbelief. You. Ian steps forward, parrying her strike with ease. You all called me the Prince of the Axe, he says with a smirk. But everyone's been wrong about that from the start. He twirls the sword once, effortless and confident. This, he continues, his tone steady and sure, has always been my real weapon. For a heartbeat, Delphine says nothing, then a slow, genuine smile spreads across her lips. So, she murmurs, you were serious after all. Her tone shifts, low and approving. You wouldn't show your hand unless you truly meant to defeat me. Ian returns her smirk. Don't get the wrong idea, he says, his crimson aura pulsing around him. I'm only revealing this because you earned it. Her expression flickers, momentarily caught between irritation and intrigue. Then she chuckles under her breath, clicking her tongue. "You're insufferable," she mutters. Still, the thought lingers in her mind, a strange thrill running through her. Greed? She wonders briefly. Is that what this is? The amusement fades as quickly as it came, replaced by her usual calm composure. Ian blinks, confused by her sudden shift in demeanor. But Delphine doesn't notice. She exhales slowly, eyes narrowing with command once more. "You're as stubborn as ever," she says sharply. Then, in one smooth motion, she steps back and sits down. A single, deliberate act of dominance. She crosses her legs gracefully, as if the violent battle from moments ago had been nothing more than a warm-up. Ian freezes mid-step, his face turning bright red. What are you doing?" he stammers, clearly flustered. Her posture is composed, elegant, yet provocatively confident. The contrast leaves him momentarily speechless. A bead of sweat rolls down his temple. Delphine clears her throat softly, her eyes glinting with quiet amusement as she watches his reaction, calm, in control, and more dangerous than ever. Ian stands frozen, completely flustered. His mind blanks as he stammers incoherently. "Oh, Senior Delphine, that's, kinda, He waves his hands awkwardly, trying to signal that she's showing a little too much. Before either of them can recover from the awkwardness, a sharp knock echoes through the room. "Lady Delphine," a voice calls from the other side. "Is everything all right?" We heard quite a commotion. Ian's face drains of color. "Oh no. We're going to get caught." But Delphine doesn't even flinch. Her lips curl into a sly smirk. "I'm fine," she calls smoothly toward the door, then, without warning, she grabs Ian's wrist and presses something into his hand. He glances down. It's the knife. Wait, why? The door swings open. And standing there, wide-eyed and frozen, is Celine. The scene before her couldn't look worse, Ian kneeling in front of Delphine, holding a knife, and Delphine herself lounging in a half-open, revealing robe. For a long, awkward second, no one says a word. "Oh!" That's all Celine manages before her entire face turns crimson. She bows furiously. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Please forgive me." For once, the unshakable Delphine Yordina looks mortified. Her composure shatters completely. "It's not. I mean, this isn't what it looks like," she blurts out, her voice cracking with uncharacteristic panic. Thinking fast, Ian drops to one knee beside his axe on the floor. "Oh, this?" he blurts with a forced grin. "We were, settling a bet. Yeah. And, I lost this round." Before Delphine can recover or object, he spins toward her. "Good night, Senior." Then, without hesitation, he shoves her backward through a hidden panel in the wall, slamming the concealed door shut behind her. The silence that follows is deafening. The next morning, the academy is already alive with gossip. Rumors spread faster than wildfire, stories of Ian supposedly storming into Delphine's dormitory in the middle of the night, threatening her with an axe. By breakfast, the tale has already mutated. Some say he lost control, others claim he tried to duel her out of jealousy. A few even whisper that Delphine was defenseless, and Ian nearly snapped. Even the students who've known him for years are now keeping their distance, convinced that beneath his calm exterior is a ticking time bomb. Ian overhears the chatter as he passes by a group of whispering students. His brow furrows. "Hey," he says sharply, stepping forward. "Stop talking." The group turns, startled. "We didn't say anything wrong," one of them stammers. But then they catch the gleam in his eyes, that piercing golden light, and freeze. A wave of his energy surges, silent but suffocating. That's all it takes. The students scream and scatter in sheer panic. "It's him! The Prince of the Axe," someone shrieks. "Run for your life!" Within seconds, the hallway empties, leaving Ian standing alone. He exhales heavily, rubbing the back of his neck. "Great," he mutters. "Now I'm a psycho on campus." Another day, another ridiculous rumor. His gaze drifts across the hall, frustration etched on his face. How does this stuff spread so fast? A cold suspicion starts to form. Someone is feeding these stories, on purpose. Just then, Leto strolls up, hands in his pockets. "Rough morning," he teases, glancing at the chaos Ian's aura left behind. Ian sighs. "Don't start." But Leto's attention shifts to the notice board beside them. His expression turns thoughtful. "Hey," he says, nodding toward a freshly posted announcement. Ian follows his gaze. Pinned neatly in the center is a formal notice, sealed with the Academy crest. The hunting festival, 12 days away. The words linger in the air like a warning, a quiet promise that something much bigger is about to begin. Applications for the upcoming hunting festival have officially opened. Posters decorate the Academy walls, boldly announcing the rules. Teams of 4. 2 grand prizes, one for the strongest beast captured, and another for the highest total count. Ian studies the notice board in silence, arms crossed. Teams of 4, here? He's already decided to participate. The festival's too important to sit out, not with what's at stake. But that means he needs to sign up soon. He frowns slightly. Syria's already with him, but that only makes 2. 2 more spots to fill. A rearguard mage would make all the difference. He tilts his head toward the open sky, thinking aloud. Maybe I should just ask Leto? Immediately, he can imagine Leto's face, the horrified, wide-eyed glare, the inevitable yelling. No way in hell I'm joining your team. Ian sighs, already resigned. Yeah, that's about right. Still, he decides to try. He finds Leto lounging under a tree and puts on the most dramatic, pleading expression he can manage. Come on, Leto, he says, voice dripping with desperation. Please. Leto's entire body recoils. What the? Stop that. Whatever face you're making, stop it right now. Ian keeps going, undeterred. Just join us, man. You'd make the perfect mage. Leto groans loudly, clutching his head. You're being disgusting. Quit it already. Seeing that begging won't work, Ian changes tactics. He crosses his arms, tone turning thoughtful. Fine. But we do need a mage. So if you won't join, his golden eyes narrow, then at least introduce me to a good one. Leto pauses, rubbing his chin as if deep in thought. Then, a mischievous grin creeps across his face. Actually, he says slowly, I might know someone. Ian raises a brow. Really? Leto's grin widens. Oh yeah. But you'll have to follow my lead. He unfolds a newspaper and taps a bold headline. Elsie Rinella defeated, publicly humiliated in duel. Ian blinks. Wait. Huh? Leto smirks, clearly enjoying this. Trust me, he says. Do exactly what I tell you, and by the end of today, you'll have yourself one hell of a mage. Cut to a crowded courtyard. Elsie Rinella stands in the center, her aura flaring violently. Her once proud face is twisted in anger, blue lightning crackling around her fists. Nearby, a terrified student trembles. Please, Senior Elsie, I didn't mean. Shut you she roars. Just because I lost once doesn't mean you can mock me. Her fist slams into the ground, sending him sprawling. Sparks leap from her hands as she screams, Don't you dare underestimate me. The poor boy scrambles backward, begging for forgiveness. But Elsie's fury only builds. Magic surges, wild and unstable. She's seconds away from unleashing it, when a calm, steady voice cuts through the storm. Easy there. Leto steps forward, his tone light. You're gonna turn the courtyard into rubble at this rate. Elsie's eyes snap toward him. Stay out of this, Leto, she growls, the lightning flashing brighter. Then a shadow falls over her. The air grows still. She doesn't have to turn around to know who it is. Oh, Ian says simply, his voice almost casual. That single word is enough. Elsie freezes, her breath catching in her throat. Sweat trickles down her temple as she turns, and meets his golden eyes. For a split second, she sees flashes of memory, shattered shields, the crimson glow of his aura, the terrifying grin of the Prince of the Axe. Ian tilts his head slightly, expression unreadable. Then, with a faint, dangerous smile, he lifts his axe just enough for the light to glint across the blade. The courtyard falls silent. Ian's voice lowers, smooth, chilling, almost playful. Might I borrow a bit of your time? He says softly. Then, after a brief pause, adds, It's not a request. Elsie freezes. Her eyes widen in pure terror, the blood draining from her face. A strangled scream escapes her as her entire body trembles uncontrollably. She's completely paralyzed, her mind blank, her will shattered by fear alone. Then, with a panicked cry, she turns and bolts. Wait. Ian starts, but it's too late. Elsie runs like her life depends on it, tripping over her own feet as she sprints across the courtyard. Within seconds, she's nothing but a small, shaking silhouette in the distance. Ian exhales, watching her disappear with a faint smirk. Well, he mutters to himself, that Worked better than expected. His fearsome reputation, Prince of the Axe, was turning out to be a surprisingly useful weapon. He recalls Leto's earlier advice, the man's deadpan voice echoing in his head. If she resists, just hit her with the axe. Ian sighs, shaking his head. Yeah, let's not do that. He didn't want to be a monster. He just wanted to talk. Moments later, Elsie hesitantly peeks back from behind a pillar, still trembling. Her voice is small, barely audible. Talk? You wanted to talk? She stumbles a step backward, her hands raised defensively. I don't have anything to talk about. Ian takes a slow, calm step forward. Don't move. Elsie cries out, eyes wide. Stay there. Her panic spikes again as she throws her hands up. Please, put that axe away. I'll do whatever you say, just don't. Her voice cracks. Ian pauses, then lowers his weapon. The tension eases slightly as she blinks up at him, a single tear of relief slipping down her cheek. When she looks again, the terrifying gleam in his eyes is gone. Instead, his expression softens, his voice gentle, almost kind. It must have been tough, he says quietly. Elsie lets out a shaky breath, half in disbelief. You bastard, she mutters, her voice trembling between anger and exhaustion. Ian blinks, feigning confusion. Bastard? What did I do? He asks innocently, though the faint amusement in his tone gives him away. Her voice rises, her frustration boiling over. Everyone's laughing at me because of you. They're calling me an idiot, saying I cried after losing to a third year. Ian shrugs, utterly unfazed. Well, he says matter-of-factly, you did cry. I did not cry, she screams, her cheeks turning bright red. He laughs, brushing it off with a wave of his hand. Sure. Let's just leave it at that. Elsie grits her teeth. This is all your fault. Ian's smirk returns, calm and calculated. Actually, he says, I was planning to end things peacefully. You beat me up, everyone laughs, and that's it. He leans forward slightly, eyes narrowing. But then you showed up. Elsie blinks, thrown off. What? He lets the moment hang before twisting the knife, metaphorically, this time. So really, he says smoothly, you brought this on yourself. Her anger falters into confusion. You. Then he pivots, smooth, natural, deliberate. Anyway, he says, his tone turning thoughtful, there's someone who deserves your anger more than me. What? Delphine, he says simply. Why don't you get your revenge on her? Elsie stares at him, her fury dimming into surprise. How? She asks quietly. Ian's trap is set. He watches her expression shift, confusion giving way to dawning realization. The spark reignites in her eyes. Memories flood back, Delphine's cold, condescending smile, her arrogance, her words about family honor. The way she bragged about winning the hunting festival, about being unbeatable. If Delphine lost, in public, where everyone could see, it would be the ultimate disgrace. Elsie clenches her fists. If she were to fail. Ian smiles faintly, extending a confident hand toward her. Ian's lips curl into a small, confident smile. In that case, he says smoothly, extending his hand toward her, would you like to join me for the hunting festival? Elsie narrows her eyes, eyeing his hand like it's a trap. Why should I team up with you? Ian's grin shifts into something sly, mischievous, teasing, just enough to get under her skin. Elsie immediately catches on. Wait, I didn't mean it like that, she blurts, waving her hands defensively. But the playfulness fades from Ian's expression. His tone turns calm, serious. I know you don't think much of me, he says. But let me ask you something, Elsie. His golden eyes lock onto hers. Will you really be fine just standing there, watching Delphine win again? That name alone is enough. Elsie's whole expression twists, anger flashing across her face. Don't even say it, she growls through gritted teeth. Just thinking about that show-off makes my blood boil. Ian hides a smirk. That's exactly the reaction he wanted. Then you understand why I'm asking you to join me, he says confidently. If we work together, we can win, and wipe that smug look off her face for good. Elsie hesitates, mulling it over. Then, with a reluctant sigh, her eyes harden. Fine, she says, folding her arms. I still feel like you're tricking me somehow, but let's do it. Ian smiles quietly to himself. Perfect. With that, his strategy is complete, at least in theory. He mentally assigns her role. Elsie will handle support magic, timing her spells for maximum effect and striking when the opportunity arises. Syria will flank the target, creating the perfect opening for a finishing blow. He envisions it, the balance of offense and defense, a flawless team rhythm. Except, something's missing. If he's the one tanking the hits, his movements will be limited. He needs another strong attacker, someone fast, precise, and experienced enough to handle dangerous beasts. Someone who fights well beside him. His mind immediately lands on one name. Celine. Her skill as a hunter, her precision, her family's experience in tracking, she'd be invaluable for the hunting festival. He exhales, already anticipating the headache. This won't be easy. He brings Syria along, hoping her presence might help. As they approach Celine, he quietly says, "All right, Syria, draw your sword." She hesitates. "What? Why?" "Just, trust me," he mutters, trying to look confident, though even he's not sure how this will go. Celine spots them instantly, her sharp eyes narrowing. "What are you two doing here?" she demands, her tone as cold as her glare. Before Ian can answer, her expression darkens. "And you," she says sharply, turning her gaze on him, "what exactly were you doing with my sister yesterday?" Ian freezes. "Yesterday?" "Oh, that," he scratches the back of his neck awkwardly, trying to find the right words. But Celine cuts him off before he can explain. "Don't play dumb," she snaps. "You were thinking about another girl just now, weren't you?" Ian's eyes widen. "What?" "No. You're the one who brought up Delphine." Her face flushes with anger and frustration. "She's after you, isn't she?" she yells. "Even though you were supposed to be." She stops herself, her voice breaking slightly. Her eyes shimmer, furious and tearful at the same time. Ian looks around nervously. "Great. Just what I need. Another rumor in the making." He shakes the thought off. "Focus, Ian. Focus." He clears his throat loudly, trying to redirect the situation. "Ahem. Anyway." He straightens, forcing a serious tone as he prepares to finally cut through the chaos and get to the real reason he's here. Ian exhales slowly, bracing himself. "All right," he says, turning toward Celine. "The team's almost complete. We've got Syria and Senior Elsie as our mage." Syria's face lights up immediately. "Really?" she says, eyes sparkling. "That's incredible. With Elsie on our side, our offensive power will skyrocket." Ian nods, then looks toward Celine, his expression soft but serious. "And for the last member, I was hoping it could be you." Celine freezes, eyes wide. "Me?" Before she can even react further, Syria's mood shifts in an instant. Her cheerful expression vanishes, replaced by a sharp glare. "Huh?" she snaps. "If you bring her along, we'll just spend the entire time arguing." Ian sighs heavily. He knew this was coming. "I know it's not ideal," he says firmly, "but there's no one else with her level of skill." Syria crosses her arms, clearly unhappy, but he stands his ground. "We need the best if we want to win." He clenches his fist, he's made up his mind. They have to enter the hunting festival, and they have to win. Ian steps closer to Syria, his tone softening. "I know this won't be easy," he says quietly, taking her hand. "But just this once, trust me, all right?" Syria blinks, caught off guard by his sincerity. Her expression slowly softens as she meets his gaze. After a moment, she nods. "All right," she says finally, her voice gentle but firm. "I'll trust your word, Senior Ian." Relief floods his face, and a small smile tugs at his lips. "Thank you." But there's still one more step left, and it's the hardest one. He glances toward Celine, who's been silent this whole time, and worries silently to himself. If she agrees, the team will finally be complete. Later that day, the academy grounds are calm and sunlit, a peaceful contrast to the storm of emotions brewing among its students. Ian spots Celine sitting alone on a stone bench, her posture slumped, her expression distant. He approaches quietly. "Celine," he calls gently. She startles slightly, looking up. "Ian." Her eyes widen as she quickly stands, brushing her hair aside. "Oh, I didn't expect to see you." There's a hint of guilt in her voice as she lowers her head. "About earlier. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have yelled like that." Ian smiles reassuringly. "Don't worry about it. It's already forgotten." Her eyes brighten a little. "So, does that mean we've made up?" she asks hopefully. Then, trying to sound casual, she adds, maybe we could get food tomorrow. Ian chuckles softly but shakes his head. Sure, but before that, there's something I wanted to ask. Celine tilts her head. Ask me? He rubs the back of his neck, suddenly awkward. Would you join me for the hunting festival? She blinks, clearly surprised. The hunting festival? Ian nods, explaining quickly. Syria and I are already signed up, but we're short on members. I know you two don't exactly get along, but... At the mention of Syria, Celine's entire demeanor shifts. Her polite smile hardens instantly, her irritation flickering to life. Oh. Huh. Ian sighs internally. Here we go again. He forces a hopeful smile. Look, I get it. But I really think this could work if we all focus on the goal. Then, to his shock, Celine's expression softens. She blinks once, then lets out a quiet laugh. Of course, she says simply. Ian stares at her. Wait, really? You're agreeing? Celine lifts her chin proudly, a confident smile tugging at her lips, and maybe just the faintest blush coloring her cheeks. Obviously, she says. No one works with you as well as I do. If you're competing, then of course I have to go. Ian can't help but grin. Her pride, her competitiveness, her feelings, all of it wrapped neatly into that single answer. That was easier than I thought, he muses to himself. He mentally runs through the lineup once more. Himself. Syria. Elsie. Celine. A powerhouse team, the top students of the academy, each with unique strengths. With their combined skill, and the hidden advantage of what he knows from the future letters. Ian feels it in his gut, this time, they actually have a chance. A real shot at victory. But as Ian reviews everything, reality hits him. Their biggest obstacle isn't the monsters they'll face, it's each other. Elsie is brilliant but stubborn, always ready to pick a fight. Syria is kind but overly cautious, constantly second-guessing herself. Celine? Proud, competitive, and completely unwilling to compromise. And him? He's stuck trying to keep all three from killing each other before the festival even begins. He rubs the back of his neck with a weary sigh. This is going to be a nightmare. Still, quitting isn't an option. He clenches his fist, determination lighting his eyes. No matter what, I'll make this work. We'll become a real team. Step 1, training. Safe, controlled, cooperative exercises to build trust. At least, that was the plan. But the image in his mind, of a dark, menacing forest filled with unknown beasts, suggests it'll be anything but safe. He tries to reassure himself. It's fine. It's not like we'll be fighting anything too dangerous. The next morning, golden sunlight filters through the trees, illuminating the academy's outdoor training grounds. Birds chirp softly overhead, a peaceful morning by all appearances. But for Ian's newly formed team, the real battle isn't with monsters. It's with each other. The air is heavy with tension. Syria and Celine stand apart, both stiff, both refusing to even look at each other. The hostility between them feels almost tangible, like static in the air. A few feet away, Elsie adjusts her wide-brimmed hat, visibly irritated. Ooh, this is unbearable, she mutters under her breath. The silence, the awkward, suffocating quiet, is driving her insane. Finally, she snaps. How are we even supposed to call ourselves a team if no one will talk to anyone else? Her voice echoes across the clearing. For a split second, everyone freezes. Then, from behind her, a cold, heavy pressure fills the air. Elsie's heart drops. Ian's presence is calm, but crushing. His golden eyes glint faintly as he steps closer, every movement deliberate. The look alone sends a chill down her spine. Elsie immediately stiffens, bowing her head. I'm sorry, she blurts, trembling slightly. Ian doesn't say a word at first. He simply reaches out, takes hold of her hat, and holds it lightly between his hands. Then, in a quiet, even tone, he says, "Promise me you'll keep your focus." Elsie nods quickly. "Why, yes," she whispers, barely audible. The weight of his presence lingers for a moment longer, Then he gently places the hat back on her head. His voice softens, but his expression stays firm. Things are already hard enough. We can't train properly with this much tension. The silence returns, thick and uneasy. Syria hesitates, then takes a small step toward Celine. Maybe we could try. Celine immediately steps back, her tone cutting. What are you doing? She says coldly. If all we're going to do is talk, maybe we should postpone this. Syria flinches, retreating slightly. Ian sighs, forcing a strained smile. All right, enough. Actually, I invited someone to join us today. That gets their attention. Elsie's eyes widen. A guest? She asks curiously. What, some low-ranking noble here to watch? Before Ian can answer, a powerful surge of energy bursts through the clearing, wind whipping through the trees, leaves and dust swirling in a sudden storm. The team shields their eyes as a shadow descends from above, sharp against the blazing morning light. The air hums with power. Then a deep, commanding voice cuts through the chaos. So, it says, calm but resonant, you're the ones who wish to become beast hunters. As the light fades, the figure comes into focus, tall, broad-shouldered, radiating an aura of absolute strength. Professor Derek, the legendary beast hunter. His golden eyes are sharp and assessing as they sweep over each of them, weighing, measuring, judging. Ian immediately straightens and bows deeply. Professor Derek, he says, voice full of respect. It's an honor, sir. I've been looking forward to learning from you. The professor regards him for a long moment before giving a faint nod, his expression unreadable, but his presence alone enough to silence the entire team. The girls freeze, caught off guard by what they've just heard. The idea of becoming beast hunters leaves them completely speechless. Elsie starts to object, insisting she wants no part in it, but before she can get another word out, Ian smirks and tugs her hat down over her eyes, forcing a muffled, reluctant agreement out of her. Professor Derek doesn't waste time. He lays out their first challenge. For the next 2 hours, treat me as your target. Track me down, find me, and land one clean hit. Ian cracks a grin. That's it? Please, how hard could one old man be? He boasts, clearly underestimating what's coming. Elsie, on the other hand, still looks completely lost in the chaos that's just unfolded. With the mission set, the group makes their way into the forest. A soft breeze stirs the trees, leaves whispering overhead as their test truly begins. As they move deeper, Syria speaks first. I can't sense him at all, she mutters. It's like he's masking his presence, he could pass for a magical beast himself. Celine gives a confident smirk. If you pay attention, there's always a trace left behind, she says coolly, a not-so-subtle flex of her tracking instincts. Ian nods. Makes sense. Comes with being from a hunter's family, here? Celine takes that as her cue to jab back. Unlike certain pampered nobles who probably can't tell one end of a bow from the other, she adds, her gaze sliding toward Elsie. Elsie's eyes narrow. I'll have you know I've been on plenty of hunts. Celine just laughs. Oh? Did I hit a nerve? Before things can spiral, Ian steps in. Enough. I've found Derek's trail. Let's move. Celine instantly shifts gears, a faint blush coloring her cheeks. Wow, Ian, your tracking's really improved. Guess hunting with me finally paid off, here? Ian sighs, keeping his focus. Let's save the compliments for after we pass. Syria's patience finally snaps. Her tone sharpens as she turns to Celine. We're not here to flirt. Focus. Celine spins toward her. What's your problem? Jealous. A cold aura ripples off Syria, her voice steady but cutting. You really think I'm the jealous one? Celine's glare hardens. Why do you even care? Let's be real, Ian only brought you along to fill an empty slot. Syria's eyes glint, glowing an icy blue. Her expression stays calm, but her words are unshakable. If that's what you believe, then stop talking. The air thickens with tension. Magic hums between them, ready to explode at any moment. And then, movement above. Professor Derek watches from a branch high overhead, clearly unimpressed. He drops down silently, landing right behind them. Ian whirls around. Derek's voice cuts through the air, low and firm. Magical beasts don't just run, he says. They attack when you least expect it. Before anyone can react, he bursts forward, a sudden wave of power erupting around him. Run! Derek's voice booms as the ground explodes beneath their feet. A shockwave rips through the clearing, hurling everyone backward. Dirt and leaves scatter as the team hits the ground hard. Derek stands tall amid the chaos, his voice cutting through the ringing in their ears. "If you have time to fight each other," he says coldly, "you don't need me to teach you anything." Elsie and Celine scramble up, magic flaring to life around them. Support spells light the air with shimmering hues. Derek glances toward Elsie, his eyes narrowing slightly. "Not bad," he admits. "You've got more bite than I expected." Pride flickers in her voice as she answers, "I'm the top mage in the 4th year. Of course I'm strong." But Derek doesn't let the moment breathe. "And what good is that," he asks sharply, "if the rest of your team can't keep up?" Before Elsie can reply, his arm lashes out. A burst of energy slams into her, throwing her across the field. She hits the ground with a cry of pain. Ian clenches his fists. "We're not getting anywhere like this," he mutters. Syria's anger boils over. She charges forward, ignoring Ian's shout of warning. "Syria, wait." But she's already in motion, magic blazing from her body. Derek barely moves. In an instant, he meets her head-on, palm glowing bright. The strike lands with a flash that lights up the forest. The impact sends Syria crashing backward, her weapon slipping from her grasp. As she lies there, stunned and gasping, Derek's voice rings out again, calm, but cutting. "In a real fight, there's no room for ego. You win as one, or you die alone." Syria's eyes burn with frustration as she struggles to rise. Derek surveys the fallen team, 3 down, 1 still standing. His gaze turns to Ian. "Well? What now, boy?" Ian's jaw tightens. He glances at Syria, battered, but still conscious. "They need her. Celine," he orders. "Go help Syria. She's our best chance to turn this around." Celine glares at him. "Forget it," she snaps. "We don't need her." "Celine." Her voice rises, sharp and trembling. "Why do you always care about her so much?" "I'm tired of it." Ian's golden eyes flare, glowing with quiet fury. His tone drops low and cold. "I told you before, monsters don't wait." For a moment, silence. Then, a faint smile curls on Derek's face. Finally, he murmurs, "You're starting to understand." The leaves stir around them as Derek turns away, the storm of his magic fading into stillness. He looks back once more, disappointment etched in his voice. "No teamwork. No unity. You call that a team?" His eyes lock on Celine. "If all you're going to do is argue, why are you even here?" Ian stands motionless, watching him disappear into the trees. His expression hardens. He knows Derek's right. The problem runs deep, and if they don't fix it, they'll never survive out there. That night, silence blankets the academy. The moonlight spills through the windows, cool and still. Celine stands by a sink, staring at her reflection. The water runs quietly as her thoughts swirl, about Ian, about the fight, about everything left unsaid. Celine stands in silence, the night pressing softly around her. Thoughts of Ian weigh heavy on her heart, refusing to fade. A memory flickers, a younger Ian smiling at her, voice calm and gentle. "Whatever happens, it's not your fault." His words echo like a promise from another lifetime. The warmth of that moment fades as she returns to the present. In her room, she notices a piece of paper lying near the door. She picks it up, recognizing Ian's handwriting instantly. "Meet me in the eastern forest. I need to talk to you." Celine exhales slowly, staring at the note. He must want to talk about today, she thinks. Probably another lecture about teamwork. Still, a small, wistful smile touches her lips. "If I were ever going to tell him how I feel, I'd want to do it face to face." As the hour nears, she slips into the quiet forest. The moonlight filters through the trees, silver and cold. Her heart beats faster, a mix of nerves and hope guiding her steps. When she spots him waiting up ahead, she calls out lightly, trying to sound cheerful. "Hey, you're out here too late for your own good." Ian doesn't turn immediately. "Hey," he replies, his tone low, far too serious for small talk. Celine frowns and walks closer. "So, what's this about?" He finally turns, eyes steady, expression unreadable. "How long are you planning to keep? Picking fights with Syria?" Celine stiffens, her voice rising. "What's that supposed to mean?" But Ian doesn't let her finish. "You've been provoking her non-stop. You think no one notices?" Her expression hardens. "Fine, you're right. I did it on purpose." She gets under my skin. In that instant, Ian's golden eyes flare, glowing like fire. His voice drops to a chilling calm. Enough. Pick up your sword. She blinks, confused. What? A sword hits the ground at her feet with a dull thud. The moonlight catches the steel, sharp and real. Ian, that's not a practice blade, she says quietly. I know, he answers. Talking won't fix this. We settle things the way we always have, with our blades. He grips his own sword, stance firm and unyielding. If I win, this ends. No more resentment. No more excuses. Celine's frustration boils over. You haven't changed at all, she yells. Somewhere in the distance, Leto takes one look at the two of them and wisely disappears into the trees. Celine exhales, the tension draining from her shoulders. Maybe this was inevitable. Maybe this is what they needed. She picks up the sword, her fingers tightening around the hilt. Her eyes meet his, steady and determined. Fine. How do we decide who wins? Ian's gaze sharpens, his voice like steel in the cold night air. The fight ends when one of us can't stand. Ian's tone is calm but firm. The duel ends when one of us surrenders. Celine exhales, steadying her breath. Fine, she murmurs. Let's finish this. They both take their stances beneath the pale moonlight, the forest holding its breath. The air hums with tension. Then, they move. Their blades collide with a ringing clang, sparks scattering through the night. A pulse of blue energy erupts from Celine's sword, the shockwave pushing Ian back several paces. His eyes flash gold. That power, he didn't expect it. Celine's aura deepens, a dark blue energy swirling around her like a storm. Her sword vibrates with raw, crackling magic. Don't hold back, Ian, she shouts, lunging forward. Her next strike detonates like thunder, blasting him off his feet. He crashes into the ground, dust billowing around him. How? She's never been this strong. He coughs, trying to regain balance, his mind racing. Is she using a potion? Celine smiles, cold and confident. Guess I should thank your little friend, she says. That spirit of yours taught me a few tricks, how to focus all my power into one perfect strike. Ian's jaw tightens. That damn spirit again. Celine raises her sword, the blue glow intensifying until the forest itself seems to tremble. Now that we've come this far, she declares, I'm not losing. She charges again, faster than before, her magic pulsing with frightening power. Ian's eyes narrow. Her swings are getting heavier, sharper, deadlier. One hit and it's over. He ducks, sidesteps, then feints left, the familiar motion of his axe stance. But this time, it's a trap. In one swift, seamless motion, Ian draws his true weapon, a gleaming sword, hidden until now. The metal flashes bright under the moon as he appears behind her. Celine spins around, eyes wide in disbelief. A sword? Ian's muscles tense. He swings. She raises her hand instinctively, bare, to block, but the force tears through her defense. His blade slices past her guard. A sharp sound splits the air. Blood sprays across her white shirt as she staggers backward, gasping in shock. The duel just turned deadly. Her voice trembles with fury. How did you hide that? Everyone knows you fight with an axe. Ian doesn't answer. That's why I needed a real master, to teach me something beyond what everyone expects. His old axe lies in the dirt, abandoned, gleaming faintly in the moonlight. Celine's breathing quickens, eyes glowing bright yellow as a violent aura flares around her. You think throwing your axe away changes who you are, she snaps, her voice cracking. Her gaze locks onto his sword, and realization hits. This isn't the Ian she thought she knew. Are you insane? She screams. Ian doesn't respond. He charges again, sword flashing like lightning. The impact shakes the clearing. Metal meets magic, and this time, his strike breaks through. The explosion of force sends Celine sprawling backward with a cry of pain. Her sword clatters from her grasp as she clutches her chest, gasping for air. Celine stumbles back, trembling. Her sword lies forgotten in the dirt, and for the first time tonight, fear flashes across her face. She's completely defenseless. Ian approaches, his blade steady and aimed at her arm. Just a shallow cut, enough to end the duel and finally stop this madness. But as he closes the distance, something shifts. For a split second, he sees her expression, wide-eyed, terrified, and realization slams into him like lightning. His swing, it's too fast. Too strong. If he doesn't stop, that blade won't hit her arm. It'll pierce straight through her heart. Time seems to slow. With a desperate twist, Ian wrenches his body sideways. The motion throws off his balance, and then, a sickening thud. A burst of pain rips through his arm. Blood sprays across the ground. Celine's eyes go wide. Ian! He stumbles, groaning, his own sword buried deep in his left arm. He stopped himself, barely, at the cost of his own flesh. If he hadn't, his other self would have killed her. Even through the pain, Ian forces a weak smile. He lifts his trembling hand and rests it gently on her head. So, does that mean I win? He says softly. It isn't pride, it's peace. His wound, his pain, a small price to end their endless fighting. Celine stares up at him, tears spilling down her cheeks. Why would you? He cuts her off, voice quiet but firm. I don't want anything. Just promise me you'll apologize to Syria, and give it everything you've got at the hunting festival. Her voice breaks. That's it? That's all you want? Ian's faint smile doesn't waver. But his body does. His strength leaves him all at once, and he collapses. Celine catches him, panic overtaking her as his blood seeps into her clothes. Ian! Ian, stay with me! Her cry echoes through the silent forest, raw, desperate, shattering the calm of the night. When Ian finally opens his eyes again, sunlight filters through a window. The smell of clean linen and medicine fills the air. He groans, sitting up slowly. His arm is tightly bandaged, the pain dull but bearable. Finally awake, comes a familiar voice. Celine sits beside the bed, exhaustion written all over her face. Relief washes through her as she sees him stir. How long was I out? He asks. All night, she says quietly. You're lucky, the healer said the wound missed any major arteries. Ian flexes his fingers slightly, wincing. Guess I got off easy. The door creaks open. Syria steps in, her expression calm but worried. The saintess told me you were seriously hurt, she says. I came to see for myself. Celine freezes, tension immediately filling the air. Their eyes meet, rivals once more, but this time without hostility. For a moment, neither speaks. Then, slowly, Celine rises to her feet. She turns toward Syria, takes a deep breath, and bows her head. I'm sorry, she says. For everything. For the fights, for the way I treated you. It won't happen again. Ian smiles faintly from the bed. Wow, who knew you could actually apologize? He teases. Syria doesn't have to forgive you, though. Syria glances at him, then back to Celine. Her tone is calm, steady, but her words carry weight. Syria's calm voice breaks the silence. It doesn't bother me anymore, she says softly. Celine blinks, caught off guard by the easy forgiveness. You really mean that? Syria nods, a faint blush coloring her cheeks. We just had that kind of relationship, I suppose. I was at fault too, she admits with a small, genuine smile. So yes, I accept your apology. Relief floods Celine's face. Her lips curve into a bright, almost childlike smile. Then from now on, let's get along, okay? She extends her hand. Syria hesitates only a moment before taking it, her smile warm. Yeah, let's. Ian exhales deeply, shoulders relaxing. Finally, he mutters with a faint grin. That went a lot smoother than I expected. Watching the two of them side by side, he feels a rare sense of calm. The rift between them, gone. No more tension, no more distractions. Now they could focus on what truly mattered, growing stronger together. He knew what this team was capable of. For the first time, it finally felt possible. But then, the door opens. The saintess enters, her graceful presence immediately commanding the room. Light seems to follow her, soft yet blinding in its intensity. Her crimson eyes flicker with power as she surveys the group. Leave us, she says sweetly, though her tone leaves no room for argument. I need to treat him privately. A sudden chill prickles down Ian's spine. Her magic feels gentle, but there's something beneath it, something sharp and dangerous. Celine glances at him, uneasy, but she understands. This is her domain. Stepping forward, she bows her head slightly. Please, take good care of him, she says earnestly. The saintess smiles, her expression unreadable. Of course, she replies softly. But if he truly means that much to you, make sure he doesn't get hurt again. The words hang in the air, deceptively kind yet heavy with meaning. Then her gaze turns to Syria. You too, she says gently, motioning toward the door. Syria hesitates. Do I really have to leave? I just want to. The saintess tilts her head, her voice turning playful. Oh? Are you his fiancé, then? Syria's eyes widen. What? No. I'm not. Or perhaps, his lover, the saintess adds with a knowing smile. Syria flushes crimson. And no. That's not. Her protest is cut short as the saintess ushers her out with a gentle push. Then you have no reason to stay, she says sweetly, shutting the door behind her. The room falls quiet again. Only Ian and the saintess remain. Her tone softens as she turns back to him. Now then, she murmurs. Show me your arm. Ian obeys, extending his bandaged limb. He forces a small laugh. You didn't have to chase them out, you know. The saintess presses her hand to his wound, her touch featherlight, but a sudden sting shoots through him. He winces. She glances up at him with a mischievous smirk. Honestly, she teases, you're always getting hurt trying to impress women. Maybe you enjoy it. Her fingers glow faintly as healing magic begins to flow, the red light dancing across his arm like fire. The saintess's hand tightens around Ian's arm, her tone suddenly sharp. You must not get hurt again, she says firmly. Before he can answer, her voice softens, almost teasing. Honestly, your recklessness is exhausting. Do you have any idea what it does to me every time you end up like this? Ian lets out a weak laugh, but she doesn't smile. Her expression hardens once more. This isn't a joke, she continues. You've been injured far too often. Another wound like this, and your body might not recover. Her words carry authority, no longer just concern, but command. That's not advice, she says quietly, it's a directive from the priestess responsible for your well-being. Her purple eyes lock onto his. I strongly advise you not to participate in the upcoming hunting festival. Your body is already at its limit. Ian's gaze drops for a moment, then hardens with quiet resolve. I'm sorry, he says, but I can't back down now. Too much depends on it. The saintess sighs, her expression softening into reluctant acceptance. Then at least promise me you won't get hurt again. He hesitates, knowing full well it's a promise he can't keep. All right, he murmurs. A few moments later, the sound of heavy footsteps echoes through the chamber. The door opens, revealing a tall young man with a composed air and sharp eyes. Uran, third-year student and guardian of the saintess. Ian greets him with surprise. Back from the Holy Kingdom already? Uran nods. Yes. There were complications. Some old men tried to block my path, but I handled it. The saintess's face brightens faintly. Then you have it. Without another word, Uran opens a small ornate box. Inside, a crimson glow fills the room, a pulsing red crystal, alive with heat and energy. The blood crystal, he says simply. Ian stares at it in awe. The saintess explains softly, it's a sacred relic, a treasure unlike any other. Its power amplifies healing to the highest degree. As long as a person still draws breath, the crystal can restore them completely. The brilliance of the orb reflects in Ian's eyes. His heart leaps. With this, Emma could be saved. But before hope can take root, the saintess's expression darkens. However, she says quietly, it's not that simple. She closes the box gently, her tone turning solemn. The blood crystal is a holy artifact. Its use is forbidden except in the gravest of emergencies, and only with the Holy Kingdom's authorization. Without that, my hands are tied. The weight of her words crushes the flicker of hope in Ian's chest. She looks at him one last time. Please, Ian. Keep your promise, and don't push yourself further. Then she and Uran leave, the door closing softly behind them. Ian sits in silence, the light fading from his eyes. The ache in his arm throbs with every heartbeat, a painful reminder of what is already sacrificed. If it were up to him, he wouldn't go to the festival at all. But he doesn't have that luxury. He grips his bandaged arm tightly. The pain is nothing compared to the weight of his resolve. Memories flicker before him, Syria's determined face, her words echoing in his mind, we'll win this together. Then Emma's fragile form, pale and still, her life hanging by a thread. Only the remains of a powerful beast from the festival can save her. And finally, the memory that haunts him most, the crimson text of the future letter, burning into his thoughts like a curse. Ignore the prophecy, and disaster will follow. Ian closes his eyes. His path is set. He knows he can't keep the saintess's promise. No matter what it costs him, he has to fight. Days blur into nights as Ian and his team train without rest. Every strike, every movement, every spell, all sharpened into perfect rhythm. What once was chaos now moves like a single heartbeat, their coordination honed through sweat, pain, and sheer determination. And then, at last, the day arrives. The hunting festival. The massive grounds hum with excitement. Flags flutter in the wind, the air thick with tension and anticipation. Crowds of students, nobles, and spectators fill the arena, voices merging into a thunderous roar. Ian stands at the edge of it all, the morning light glinting off his golden eyes. The day he's been fighting toward, the day everything rests on, has finally come. His team stands beside him, each of them radiating the quiet strength born from struggle and reconciliation. He looks over his shoulder at them, a faint smile on his face. "Shall we?" They nod, no hesitation, no fear. As they step forward, cheers erupt from the crowd. The once fractured team now marches as one, their presence commanding attention. Elsie mutters under her breath, hard to believe this ragtag bunch actually pulled it together. Leto smirks, arms crossed. "We trained like our lives depended on it. Let's just hope that was enough, because real combat isn't forgiving." Ian chuckles lightly. "We'll be fine. At least now we." A deafening whoosh cuts him off. Something blurs past his face, fast, heavy, and glowing with an ethereal blue light. Thud. An axe slams into the ground beside him, the force cracking the stone. His axe. His signature weapon. But it's not in his hands. The crowd falls silent, shock rippling through the arena. Then, from the mass of spectators, a figure steps forward, tall, confident, every movement deliberate. Her long blonde hair gleams under the sun, her piercing red eyes locked on Ian. She smiles, that familiar, mocking smile. "Long time no see," she says, her tone dripping with amusement. She extends her hand casually, her voice ringing out clear and sharp. "Prince of the Axe." A murmur spreads through the onlookers, that title, the one Ian hoped to leave behind. His jaw tightens. Delphine? Delphine Euthena. The last person he wanted to see here. She grins smugly, crossing her arms. "What's with that face? Don't look so shocked. It's not like that axe would have hit you, unless you wanted it to." Ian's glare sharpens, completely unamused. Delphine shrugs, feigning innocence. "Relax. I just wanted to say hello." But her eyes shift, landing squarely on Syria. Her smile turns colder, crueler. "Oh, and I have a message for my dear little sister." The tension thickens. Syria's expression freezes as Delphine's crimson gaze locks onto hers. Delphine steps closer, her presence almost suffocating. "Syria," she says softly, too softly, "give up and step aside." Her voice carries through the silence, dripping with condescension. "You know how this goes. You always give up. So do it again, and save yourself the humiliation." The crowd murmurs. Even for the proud Euthena family, this level of cruelty is startling. Ian's eyes narrow. His anger simmers beneath the surface. How could she talk to her own sister like that? Syria's fists tremble at her sides, her eyes wide with disbelief and anger. Elsie steps forward sharply, her tone biting. "You've got some nerve. Who do you think you are, talking like that?" Delphine doesn't even glance her way. Her lips curl into a smirk. "I wasn't talking to you, commoner. This is between me and my sister." Her gaze sweeps over the group, condescending and cold. "Tell me," she says slowly, her smile widening, "do any of you even have the strength to stand beside her?" Delphine's mocking words hang heavy in the air, the silence that follows cutting sharper than any blade. Elsie steps forward, anger flaring in her eyes. "How dare you?" But Ian catches her arm, his voice low and steady. "Elsie, calm down," he says firmly. "I was about to say the same thing, but not like this." She wants a reaction. "Don't give it to her." Elsie hesitates, her jaw tight, but nods reluctantly. Delphine's lips curl into a satisfied smile. "Good boy," she taunts. Then she turns back to Syria, her tone dropping, smooth and venomous. "I said I was talking to her, not to outsiders." Her voice lowers into a chilling whisper. "You'll never beat me, Syria. You never have. You never will." Her red eyes glint dangerously as she takes a step closer. "Do you remember Mother?" Syria stiffens, her breath catching. Delphine's smile turns cruel. She couldn't prove herself either. And look what happened to her. The words hit like a blade to the chest. The world around Syria seems to blur. The image of her mother's exile flashes before her eyes. The shame, the silence, the pain. "Don't even think," Delphine murmurs, "about standing against me. You'll only end up like her." For a moment, Syria's fear takes hold, her body frozen, her mind filled with dread. But then, beneath the fear, something else stirs. A spark. Ian's voice echoes in her memory. You're not that scared little girl anymore. His warm smile flickers in her mind. Don't let them intimidate you. This is your chance to show them who you are. Syria's breathing steadies. Her trembling stops. Her hand tightens into a fist. She raises her head, eyes clear, shining with fierce determination. I'm sorry, sister, she says quietly. Delphine arches an eyebrow. Syria meets her gaze without flinching. But this time, I won't back down. A dangerous glint flashes in Delphine's eyes. Then, a slow, wicked smile spreads across her face. Oh? So you do have a spine after all. How nostalgic. She steps back, arms folding across her chest. It's been ages since we had a proper sibling rivalry. Fine, little sister. Do as you please. With a theatrical twirl, she turns to leave, her smirk confident, assured she's already won the mental battle. But Ian's voice cuts through the air. You forgot something. Before she can reply, he draws his sword and flicks his wrist. The blade whistles through the air and strikes the fallen axe at his feet. The weapon spins up in a perfect arc, the metal gleaming with blue light before landing squarely in Delphine's waiting hand. The crowd gasps. The axe hums with power, vibrating with the raw energy of Ian's throw. He crosses his arms. You want your axe back? Delphine grins. Keep it, she says, the edge in her voice playful. Think of it as a reward for your little surprise. Ian glances down at the weapon, slightly puzzled. It's his secondary axe, not his main weapon, but her words make him pause. With a shrug, he fastens it to his belt. Fine. I'll hold on to it. Before he can say more, a booming laugh echoes nearby. A broad-shouldered student steps forward, his twin axes glinting under the sun. His head is shaved, his grin sharp. Well, he says, his deep voice carrying easily over the crowd. So you're that Ian, the axe wielder everyone's been talking about. Elsa's eyes widen. That's Olmar, the twin axe. A fourth-year mercenary. They say no one can match him in close combat. Olmar chuckles, twirling his weapons effortlessly. You've caught my attention, kid. As a fellow axe user, I'd love to test you out. He takes a stance, his twin blades glowing with a fierce blue aura. Before Ian can respond, Olmar hurls both axes forward in a blur of motion. The weapons spin through the air like comets, their energy slicing the wind. Ian's eyes narrow. A challenge, here? He braces himself, boots digging into the ground as the crowd erupts around them. The festival hasn't even begun, and already, the sparks of battle are flying. Olmar's twin axes slam into the ground with a deafening boom, the shockwave kicking up a cloud of dust. Ian twists aside just in time, the blades embedding deep into the earth inches from his boots. The ground cracks beneath the impact. Olmar grins, yanking his weapons free with effortless strength. Relax, he laughs, spinning the axes around. Just showing off a little. Didn't mean to scare you. Ian exhales slowly, eyeing the deep gouges in the dirt. Some show off, he mutters, half impressed despite himself. From behind, Aya, his sharp-tongued partner, folds her arms. Really, Ian? You're supposed to be the axe expert, and you're the one getting impressed. He shoots her a sideways glance. I was analyzing his technique. Sure you were, she says dryly. Another student approaches, tall, composed, his presence steady. Olmar, Fairman calls, enough fooling around. We're up next. Olmar's smirk fades into a more professional expression. Yeah. Duty calls. He turns to Ian, flashing a grin. You should join us sometime. A real axe user like you would fit right in. He slings his weapons over his shoulders and starts walking off. See you in the forest, Prince of the Axe. The title lingers in the air as Olmar disappears into the crowd. Delphine, watching from a distance, hides her satisfaction behind a faint smirk. Everything was unfolding exactly as she planned. Celine frowns, glancing at Ian. What was that all about? Ian sighs, rubbing the back of his neck. Honestly? No clue. Trying to understand Delphine's schemes is a lost cause. Before Celine can reply, a voice booms across the festival grounds. Attention, all participants. A cheerful announcer's tone replaces the tension. Before we begin, let's review the rules of this year's hunting festival. The crowd quiets, eyes turning toward the grand stage as the announcer continues. Each team has until 8 p.m. to capture one magical beast. At sunset, Judges will evaluate every captured creature to determine your rankings. The crowd erupts with excitement. As the announcement ends, Ian steps forward, his golden eyes gleaming beneath the sunlight. "This is it," he says quietly. He glances at his team, each one focused, ready. "Let's move." They head toward the forest entrance, the energy around them shifting from celebration to resolve. This is for Emma. For the future. Ian's gaze hardens, the faint glow of crimson magic flickering in his eyes. "Delphine," he murmurs under his breath, "just wait. I'll win this, for her." 3 hours later. The forest feels endless. "We've got nothing," Elsie groans, brushing leaves out of her hair. "At this rate, we'll be lucky to catch a squirrel." Celine sighs. "We need something big. If we don't find a real target soon, we're finished." All around them, the woods stretch silent and still. Only the rustle of leaves answers. Ian frowns. This doesn't make sense. The future letter didn't say where the horned beast would appear. His tone grows tense. "We're wasting time." Suddenly, Syria stops. Her hand shoots up. "Wait." The group freezes. Her eyes narrow, scanning the dark tree line. Something's wrong. Elsie tilts her head. "What is it?" Syria's voice drops. "There's nothing. No movement. No magic. No sound. The entire forest feels empty." Ian's stomach tightens. He recognizes this eerie stillness, the same silence that always came before facing something truly dangerous. The forest is too quiet. Then, Elsie's eyes widen. "Wait. I feel it. Strong magic, nearby." Her voice trembles with excitement. "It's huge." Ian's eyes flash gold. "The horned beast." "Everyone, stay sharp," he orders. The light around them shifts as a faint, oppressive aura seeps from the shadows. The trees seem to bend beneath it, the air thickening with raw energy. They move cautiously, their footsteps soft against the forest floor. The deeper they go, the heavier the atmosphere becomes, a suffocating pressure pressing down on their chests. Then they see it. The clearing ahead is littered with bodies. Dozens of dead animals, even magical beasts, torn apart, scattered across the ground. Elsie covers her mouth. What happened here?" Ian and Syria step forward, eyes widening in horror. The wounds, the destruction, all of it's familiar. Ian's pulse spikes. "No." He recognizes this. The way the corpses are shredded, the raw magical residue in the air, it's exactly the same pattern as before. The same kind of monster. And it's close. Ian's breath catches in his throat. The blood, the carnage, it's unmistakable. This is the same beast that attacked Emma," he murmurs. "The one from the other timeline." Celine and Elsie freeze, staring at the devastation before them. Torn carcasses. The stench of blood. The earth itself seems to groan beneath the weight of it. "This level of brutality," Celine whispers. "No ordinary monster could do this." Then the air shifts. A low rumble rolls through the forest, deep, guttural, alive with power. A massive shadow moves between the trees, and Ian's eyes widen in dread. "No way." The creature steps into the open, its form towering over them, muscles rippling beneath its dark fur, violet smoke curling from its skin. 2 enormous horns jut from its skull, glowing with eerie purple light. Ian's voice drops. "It's not just the same kind of beast." He tightens his grip on his weapon. "It's the parent." The horned beast, a colossal purple demon wolf, lets out a roar that shakes the very ground. Its eyes burn like molten amethyst, its aura thick with murderous energy. The team stumbles back as a wave of purple energy surges outward. The creature lowers its head and fires. Spears of condensed magic burst from its horns, tearing through the air. "Elsie! Shield, now!" Ian shouts. Elsie doesn't hesitate. She slams her staff into the ground, chanting under her breath. A brilliant hexagonal barrier erupts before them, the surface shimmering with runes. The first volley slams into it with explosive force, sparks and cracks lighting up the clearing. "Hold it steady," Ian calls. "I'm trying." Elsie grits out, the barrier trembling under the onslaught. Ian's eyes scan the surroundings. The trees nearby are untouched. "So that's it. It's phasing," he mutters. "That's how it snuck up on us. It can move through solid objects." He looks toward the open clearing ahead. "We'll fight it out there, where it can't use the trees to hide."